All right, fellas, I want you to set your calendars back to 2006.
Okay.
Enron was on trial. Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, was killed by a stingray.
Jesus Christ, too soon, man.
Yeah. I was a sophomore in college.
Hey, look, we're pro
No,
crocodile
fuck
hunter
you.
here.
Of course we
Why
are.
you yelling at me for telling
Yeah.
you the facts?
Because I don't need to be reminded of tragedies in my life. like
Remember, I'm trying to take you back.
It's on site with stingrays, though.
Saddam Hussein was executed, or at least scheduled to die that year when he was on trial.
this. The GraveTalk podcast, the most uplifting podcast on the internet.
It was a shitty year, 2006. We get it. Housing crisis. No, that was 2008.
To be fair, every year can be a shitty year if you focus on the negative.
Yeah, the positives. The Omen remake came out.
Gnarls Barkley released Crazy.
Oh, that
Remember
song
that
was
band?
everywhere.
I think that's the same year Sexy came back, thanks to a NSYNC member, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, talk about a career resurgence.
I know, right?
I don't think he ever went away. NSYNC was hot. He went on his own. He was hot.
That's true. Yeah, I never really
There's
fell
no
off.
resurgence. You just surged.
Yeah, JT, man, straight up.
He'll always be remembered for his role as the guy who made Napster in the Social Network movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
was he
it's-
in that?
That's
Yeah.
really all he's going to be remembered for.
Dude, you know what's cool?
He's in Mickey Mouse
$1 billion.
Club, too.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. That's true. Why do I say this? In front of me, I've got a list of the top 20 grossing movies of 2006, and I want you both to guess 5. Okay? It's hard to think what was in 06, right?
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
kind of why I was trying to set you back to when that was going on.
Okay.
There's 5 action movies on the list, 2 comedies, 7 horrors, 2 thriller suspense, 1 MTV production, 3 dramas. 2 of the horror movies are remakes. 4 of them are sequels. There's 1 prequel, and 1 is based on a video game.
Hey, guess what? Remember when there's like hundreds of movies that come out
I
every
know.
year,
Okay,
and we're like in year 2023?
2006.
We can't remember characters' names of movies we watched literally the night before,
That's
Mark.
true.
I'm asking for 5 out of 20.
Nacho Libre.
No.
He said MTV production.
Oh,
Yes,
from
but it's not that.
no, that would have been too. Okay,
I'll give you some actors.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
still helping you out, right?
He's just gonna give us the shit. We're like, yep, we knew that.
I'm gonna give you some movie titles.
2 of the movies star Leonardo DiCaprio. 1 of them has Heath Ledger. 1 has a Sean Bean. 1 has a Samuel L. Jackson. 1 has all 3 of these.
Was Django Unchained 2006?
No.
Oh,
Snakes on a plane.
Got 1.
Bam.
oh, get
That's
fucked.
1.
Okay.
4 more to go.
Well, it wasn't Romeo and Juliet.
Shutter Island.
No.
Oh, Gangs of New York.
No,
No, that's
Those are
way
later.
too late.
Too late?
Gangs of New York was like 2002.
2. Okay,
yeah,
God.
yeah.
One of these movies stars Greg Kinnear, Steve Carell, and Toni Collette.
Bruce Almighty.
No, that is fuck. Damn it, all the hell. Go to hell.
Wasn't the 40-year-old virgin? Wasn't that around then?
That was way before that, too.
Oh, jeez.
You're going too far back,
Too
man.
far back. Pull it in. All right,
Just
Rain.
go back 17 years.
That's it.
Not 20.
Okay.
Swear to God, this is the dumbest game we've ever played.
Avatar. No, not Avatar.
Avatar.
When,
One of these has a Kate Beckinsale in it.
Underworld.
Maybe
7.
I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Underworld Evolution.
Was there a Resident Evil movie?
No.
Damn.
Saw. That was a Saw movie.
Oh yeah.
Which one?
Saw something between 2 and 5.
You're narrowing it down.
I'm gonna say Saw 4.
No.
Saw 5.
No.
Saw
3.
6.
Soft. That wasn't even between your 2 and 5. You went above your 5.
Saw 3. Paranormal Activity.
Something.
Nope. This
No.
is too soon.
Too soon? Oh
Paranormal's 09, dude.
shit, that's
Mika hadn't
right.
busted onto the scene yet.
He was still a baby Mika.
The thing is, from like 2001, post 9/11 to like 2019, movies just become a blur.
I know. I even worked in the movie theater in 2006. I can't think of anything.
He said Leo, and the first thing I thought was like, oh, that Romeo and Juliet movie was badass.
It was like 94. Though.
I know, it was like mid 90s
It
for
was like
sure.
97.
All right, let me help. You want to
Okay.
focus on Leo, or you want to focus
I always
on...
want to focus on
Okay.
Leo.
It was a crime movie.
Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, it was the stupid one with their gangs. The fucking.
The
like-
Departed?
No.
Yes.
Was it The Departed? Really?
The Departed. Yep.
Yeah, you should have started that. Mark Wahlberg was in there. Pick the stars, bro.
Jack Nicholson,
Yeah, that's true.
Got one more.
Boston accent.
A video game movie or an MTV movie with a giant property that is still going on today.
MTV, I don't know any. Catfish?
Jackass movie.
Yes.
Oh,
Which one?
Jackass 2.
You got it. Good job.
what was number 1?
You're looking at me like you're impressed, and I'm sitting there going like, that was the dumbest guess I've ever had.
Well, you got it right. The Omen is in the top 20. That's why we're doing
Top
this.
20?
Where do you think it lands?
Nowhere.
19.
Higher.
9.
Lower.
11. 13.
11. It came in 11th of 2006.
Man, 2006 has some shitty movies.
You know, I mean, I remember this being a big deal like when it came out, so I guess it doesn't surprise me that much.
Top 10 movies, baby. Let's go.
Okay, real quick. Snakes on a Plane was 20.
Oh, okay.
One of the Leonardo DiCaprio ones was Blood Diamond.
don't
That was the
know
other
that
one you
one.
didn't get. The prequel was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning.
Oh, boo.
No one cares about
One of the other remakes was The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, that was okay.
We got Hostel this year. And Final Destination 3 was one of the other sequels.
Oh, how did we not think of that? Yeah, that was all over
Pretty
the place.
easy.
Yeah.
The top 10 are as follows. Little Miss Sunshine at number 10. That's the one with Greg Kinnear and Steve Carell.
Oh, that was a good movie, too.
Underworld Evolution, which you more or less got.
Yeah.
At 9?
At 9.
Wow.
The Miami Vice remake. I think
Okay.
that was with Jamie Foxx, right? Was he in that?
I don't even remember that.
Sure. Let's say Jamie Foxx is in that.
Don't crucify me if I'm
Remember that
wrong.
movie Collateral? That movie was cool.
Yeah, Collateral was good.
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain. Oh. V for Vendetta.
Oh, I remember that one, yeah.
Jackass number 2, which you got. Saw 3, which you got. The Inside Man. Don't even know what that is.
Oh, that was actually pretty good. I think that was a Spike Lee movie, if I'm not mistaken. It was about Denzel Washington, and he was the cop, and that was actually a
That
good
one
movie.
was dope.
It may not be Spike Lee, but it was pretty rad.
The Departed was number 2, and number 1 was a Borat.
Borat. What? That was the number one movie of 2006?
Dude, that movie was a fucking phenomenon.
That's true. I mean,
You couldn't go anywhere without someone basically doing a stupid Borat reference.
I do remember those days.
I make Mark do them all the time at work.
Yeah, I can't even talk about my wife without hearing
That's
his-
exactly what it is. If he ever says my wife, I was like, who? Who? And I keep asking him who until he does it.
Silent Hill was the remake. The video game.
That was 06? Oh, it all blurs
Silent Hill was a
together, man.
remake, or was that a video game?
It was the video
game.
I misspoke. It was a video game.
We talked about that movie too.
Yeah.
Apocalypto, which I think was that.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson,
After the
yeah.
Passion of the Christ movie, he did it.
That was 15. And that's really all of note.
Okay.
The Descent made it at 25.
That was in 06 too? Wow.
So quite a big year for horror if you think about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Just think, listeners, you wasted 10 minutes of your life listening to this.
Or you enjoyed another GraveTalk cold open. You're welcome.
Hey, all you creatures from cyberspace. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the GraveTalk podcast. My name is Mark. Again, joined with Garrett and John. Fellas, we're back on a Sunday. We're here to talk about the devil.
My favorite subject.
Lucifer's spawn.
Yeah. Is he in Georgia again?
He's always.
No. He has a summer place there, but he doesn't actually.
If it's peach season, you'll find him there. Eating cobbler on the side of the road in one of those little shacks.
Just waiting for people to challenge him to a fiddle off.
A fiddle off.
You think he learned any other instruments after getting beat?
Oh, could you imagine?
Saxophone duel?
Oh, he absolutely knows how to play other instruments.
Hell yeah.
How do you think Weird Al got his powers?
Oh, good point.
Yeah. And then
the
the
hell
guy
out of
from
the
the
devil.
Lost Boys goes
Lost
and does a
Boys?
saxophone duel.
Tim Capello?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Well, what have you guys been up to since last time?
Being rad, watching movies, just the same old Grave
Okay.
Talk business.
Yeah.
Business is good.
Yeah, for sure. No, I've not been doing all that much. I watched a bunch of Omen movies, which, we'll get into. But other than that, I
I'm
haven't
shocked
watched.
you watched all these Omen movies.
I took one for the team. I was like, someone's going to need to...
No one asked you, though. You
Yeah.
just kind of took it upon yourself.
Well, it's important to give put this movie in context to note that this is the second best Omen movie. So, make of that what you will.
Oh, wow.
Wait, the remake is the second
Yeah.
best Omen movie?
I would go Omen, remake, Omen 2, not watch the Omen, Omen 3, Omen 4.
Well, anything un-Omen related you wanted to bring up?
No, I'm going to say no.
Garrett?
I went to Vegas for some work stuff, and my streak of coming back from Vegas with more money won on gambling than lost on gambling is still intact. So thank you, our dark savior, for keeping me in that sweet, sweet cash.
The devil is in the details.
Oh,
And he
shit.
kept his
In the
fingers.
dice.
And he kept his fingers out of your wallet.
There is a shit ton of horror escape rooms. There's an It. There's a Saw. There's a bunch of cool shit there.
Did you do any of them?
I did not. I didn't have time to actually do any of those.
Did you say Saw?
Saw.
Man.
Which was kind of cool. I saw the advertisement and I was like, okay, now that actually could be all right.
Do you get strapped into a contraption of some kind.
You know, they drug you first.
There's people, there's like actors and stuff in them, and like there's like a person chained to the pipes, and I mean the people I were with were like wet blankets though, so you can't really like, you know, I couldn't get anybody to go, and you have to have a group usually.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll skip it this time, but I'll do it next time. But yeah, no, it's pretty rad. I hung out mostly at the Tiki Bar.
Sorry, one thing I did want to bring up. I think I got to tell Garrett that he was right. I watched Jurassic Park 2 and 3, and 3 wasn't as bad as I remembered.
No, man, 3 is based off the second book.
I was like, okay, you know what? Way to go. This isn't terrible. It's not great, but considering what came after it.
The first half of Lost World and the like midsection of Jurassic Park 3 are basically the second book, more or less.
Okay. I was like, man, with Jurassic Park 2, I was like, that's right. Vince Vaughn's in this, and he's great.
Vince Vaughn's great in most things, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
He plays the same character, but he's pretty great in most things.
He's not like the biggest comedian here, so I was a little taken aback. But I was like, all right, Garrett's right. These two do hold up.
Star power, baby.
Yeah, that's true. When you got it, you got it. And he's got it. He's the man behind the man.
Oh God! Did you watch the third Jurassic World though?
No, I haven't even watched a second.
It's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking to know what Jurassic Park 1 was. We get Jurassic Park 2, Lost World Jurassic Park. Thank you, iTunes, for putting it down on the L's instead of next to the J's.
So annoying.
I hate it when they do
assholes.
that. You got one random movie. It's like if I wanted to look at all of my Friday the 13th movies, it's like Jason Goes to Hell is off on its own because it's with the J's. It's like, come on, you know where it goes.
Halloween's exceptionally bad because Halloween 1 is not under Halloween. It's under John Carpenter's Halloween.
Oh, right.
Then Rob Zombie's Halloween is under the R's. And then Halloween 2, Halloween 3 are under the H's.
Also another one that fucks around. Hellbound Hellraiser 2.
Yep.
Because it's not Hellraiser, it's Hellbound.
Why?
But to be fair, those are pretty close, though. It's still in the H's.
That's
But there's still a movie that separates it from the rest of my Hellraiser.
I know. I mean, I'll give a pass if it's in the same letter, but usually it's when it's like you have to scroll the end of the list. Like, I know I own more Halloweens than this, and it's like, oh, they're peppered throughout. The worst though is when iTunes is like, Hellraiser 3 isn't a horror movie; that's a thriller, and you're not in the right genre, and you're like, oh God,
Yeah, what a mess.
Get it together.
Final
iTunes.
Destination is the worst about that. Summer comedies, summer thrillers, summer
Yeah.
horror movies. Ugh.
Ridiculous.
Soapboxes.
So I will say,
It should be grouped by franchise.
I agree. It's probably not iTunes' fault though. I bet the movie studios pick, and it's probably just some
It is.
intern
It is.
check, whatever. Who
I know
cares?
for a fact it is what is submitted to iTunes. That's what it goes under, I believe.
So get it
yeah.
together, studios.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of probably studios' mistakes, or not, depends on what you thought of the last It Chapter 2, but they're making the prequel show.
I'm excited. This could be cool. There's a lot. There's like so much of those stories in the books that they didn't get to in the movies that they could flesh out.
Who's
so
doing this?
HBO Max.
Well-
yeah, it was said that as of the time of this article, it had finally been officially given the straight to series order.
Never mind. GraveTalk podcast.
What?
I'm so tired of fucking series. Just give me a fucking movie. I gotta quit saying fucking so much.
Fuck it. I do agree with that. I feel like they make poor decisions. Like some things that should be series are movies. Some things that could really be movies end up being series. And then they feel they need to stretch out the series to 8 episodes when it's like, all right, if you're going to be a series, 3 is probably sufficient. Get it together.
I'm looking at you, Netflix, for breaking apart a hour and a half documentary into a mini series, and it's 3 30-minute parts, and it's like, this is a fucking movie. Like, that's all this is a movie.
Did you watch the Pepsi Where's My Jet?
I did watch that one.
That could have very much been a 90-minute movie.
There was a lot of fluff in that.
So
you know,
much.
another one I watched was The Pez Thief or something like that.
I didn't watch
It's
that
about
one.
a guy who was going overseas and
He was
buying,
smuggling Pez dispensers and stuff.
selling them in the States. That didn't need to be as long as it was either, but yeah. So I don't know. This one, usually I'm not on board for prequels, but this, we have an opportunity to get more Skarsgård Pennywise Clown, which I thought he absolutely crushed that role.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see this set in the 60s, which kind of puts it more back in the same timeline as the original television show and the book, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm on board. I think
It was like
I'm-
late 50s, wasn't it, when it first came out?
Yeah.
Because it had that like late 50s feel.
Yeah.
They were doing all
'cause-
the Wolfman and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
They would have been kids, adults in the 80s. So
So I don't hate this idea. Not necessarily. I mean, I was kind of cool on part 2,
yeah.
but part 1 still fucking
I still really enjoyed part
I
2.
love it. So
I think it's also like not a prequel. I hope they're in the sense of like we're going to explain where Pennywise came from and the backstory of Pennywise, and we're
Well,
going
I'm
to see
sure
him.
there'll be an episode where we basically see, Pennywise dealing with something before his time. We'll get some of that, but I think that they'll focus on our band of characters and the stuff they go. The problem is with that though is there's a gap. between like when you leave the town and come back, at least in the main story, like what are they going to do? Just like a summer of bullshit?
Well, it could be like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but it would be interesting if they did it more like anthology style, because there are those short little sort of vignettes in
Yes.
the book, which they could make each one of those an episode. If they plan to use the same set of characters, that would be weird.
I don't think they're doing that. I think it's new characters, but from what I was reading, but I don't know.
I mean, we're also moving into territory that is not written by Stephen King, right?
That's
so
true.
they're going to have to come up with all new material for this.
Which they will. They'll have no problem with that, but
Maybe we'll get the turtle.
Could be.
we're not getting Maturin.
Maturin?
Maturin.
Yeah.
How do I remember this shit and you guys
I'm
don't?
glad you didn't. Well, I get it mixed up with the Discworld turtle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Al
Chuck.
Twin.
And I get it mixed
Chuck the tortoise.
with the real turtle that we're on.
Or the Turtles, the band.
Yes. Or the Ninja Turtles. There's too many turtles is the problem.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I don't even know what HBO Max is going to look like once Discovery fully takes over, but I assume that this
Who gives a
is
shit? They're going to cancel it just like they canceled fucking Watchmen.
Oh, man. The Watchmen show is so good.
So good, and they canceled that.
But, you know, it wouldn't be so bad if they just canceled it. But lately now, they're also like, and we're getting it off the network. Goodbye. You can't
That's-
even watch it anymore.
There's legal shit for
it's
that.
so
but yeah.
stupid.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
Can we please talk about the Omen unless you have something else to bring up, Mark?
Looks good over here.
All clear?
I'm going to go ahead and click on theomen.exe. Let's run the script. Here we go. It's booting now.
Light is green, trap is clean.
We're talking about The Omen from 2006.
The remake.
The remake. If you
The
thought,
remake. The remake.
If you thought the original Omen came out in 06, boy, there was 4 before it.
Yeah.
And John, sir, as you said, you did one for the team. You went through and sat through far too much Omen.
Omen.
Oh, man, that's a cereal.
Glass Omen from Rhiannon Johnson.
John, why don't you give us a little history and detail on the series that is The Omen?
I will do so. So I'm not going to spend too much time on each movie because we'll be here all day. But Omen 2 came out in 1976, stars Gregory Peck, very famous. Everyone's seen it. Richard Donner's first movie, directorial debut.
And people know him for?
Superman,
Yep.
The Goonies, Lethal Weapon. If you don't know him, get it together.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that movie because it's basically this movie. Omen, the second one. This came out in 1978, takes place 7 years after the first Omen. Damien's like in a military school now, and he's sort of growing up. It's okay. It's not,
Growing Up Damien. A new series coming from TLC.
and we get to see like how he's collecting his hanger-ons and the people who help him become
His hanger-ons?
yeah, people who hang on
minions.
his minions.
Oh,
There's the
okay.
word. People who are
His
just
crew.
in his circle, enabling him to be the Antichrist. Cool
The
thing.
seventh circle.
So like,
if you will.
like Miss Baylock, more or less.
Yes, but it's like people in the army now, and another.
Pauly Shore.
I was
Yes.
going to ask.
Yes, you were.
Pauly Shore is definitely.
I saw your face and I was like, he's going to say it.
Is Chucky in this one too?
That would be
What
awesome.
other military school things can we pack into this Omen?
So it's okay. The kids do a good job, all things considering. It's got young Lance Hendricks in a small role, so that's cool to see.
Was he under 40?
I believe so. He already looks.
He's never been under 40.
He already looks 70, but he's
Okay.
he's like
Well,
27.
We love you, Lance.
Fucking shout out to Lance Henriksen, man.
And the director did Final Countdown, the movie where a aircraft carrier gets
Goes
sent
back
to
in time. Yep, I remember that one.
Awesome.
I do not remember what that is. That's
Oh yeah, one of the 80s battleships or cruisers
Yeah.
go back in time and they end up in World War II.
Oh, wow.
And then they have to debate, like, it's right before Pearl Harbor. So they're like, do we get involved? Or then they get.
Butterfly effect.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. We're making it sound better than it is. But if you're a kid, it is awesome.
That time tunnel effect was cool back
It was
in the day.
dope. Yeah. This one was pretty good. It has like movies in the 70s just have a vibe to them. And this one definitely captures it. Omen 3, now we're in the 80s, 1981. This takes place 20 years after The Omen. So now Damien's a full-grown adult and he's taken over the previously unknown Thorn Enterprises, which makes it's like a farming company, but it's also a conglomerate. It owns everything.
Monsanto or whatever, basically.
Basically, yeah, or
Real Blackwater. Black Rock, that's what it is.
he becomes the ambassador to England, Not that important, except
Oh,
that
full circle.
Yes, except at the end, Jesus shows up. So
The Jesus?
okay.
Not Jesus.
Not his hanger-ons,
The most interesting
aka apostles.
Yes, not his hanger-ons. The most interesting thing is baby Jesus is born in the Omen 3. So his plan is just kill every baby that was born on June 6th or whatever.
Taking a playbook from Herod.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are these scenes of just babies getting like slaughtered.
They show it?
I mean, like in a real 80s half-ass way, like you'll see a carriage get hit by a car, and if you think like drunk driving PSAs, and then like the wheels spinning.
It's like that Ghostbusters 2 opening.
Yes, it is almost exactly like that,
Okay.
actually. So he kills a bunch of babies. In the end, Damien gets wrecked by Jesus. Movie's over.
Now, you told me Sam Neill was in this.
Oh, right. Damien is played by Sam Neill. And he does a good job with what he's given, which is very little. He has to do so much exposition. This movie is like attending a lecture. He spends just...
I can't get over the fact that you said Damien gets wrecked by Jesus.
Technically, he finally gets stabbed by the
Rex in
blade.
effect over here.
And then as he's dying, Jesus comes to like flex on him.
Nice.
And he goes, "You think you've won? You haven't won." And then Damien's dead. His tongue falls out, X's over the eyes.
Man, real Looney Tunes style.
Yes, exactly. But Damien was right. Jesus didn't win, because then 10 years later, we get a made-for-TV Omen 4. This one was supposed to kick off a series of made-for-TV movies.
3 must have just not brought any money in if they went to TV after that.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. So this one, now Damien is a girl, Delia. Yes, she's the daughter of Damien. And she is...
Granddaughter of the devil.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Great country song. She now is basically Damien, and you just redo the
You
first...
said she's now dating. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, at 5. Now you basically...
Oh, I didn't know she was so young. I think sound like a teenager.
No, she's like 8, I think, realistically.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
she's old enough to be like real chatty, so that's annoying.
Real chatty Cathy, if you
Real
will.
chatty demon. So just it's basically the first movie all over again, except she picks on kids more, and it's a TV movie, so there's like no gore. For example, one of her evil powers is she causes her bully... Well, first, she beats the shit out of him with a lunchbox. That scene was awesome. Then she makes him climb a ladder and piss himself with her demon powers. So this is like the level
Is
that
this
we're
The
at.
Omen, or is this The Problem Child starring John Ritter?
It's very much like that.
How come everyone says genre and no one else says the name of the kid?
Because nobody remembers the kid. What did he go on to do?
That's
Problem
unfortunate
Child 2?
because that kid was Problem
Yeah.
Child, you know?
That's a good point.
This one had 2 directors. One of them did Halloween 5. So take that as
That's a
you
good
will.
sign.
Yes. Oh, and also
Real prestige there.
there's no Christians in this movie. Now it's hippies, like New Age with crystals.
Oh, boy.
And they could tell, they find out she's the devil because all of this lady's spirit crystals turn black from absorbing all of her negative energy.
I actually bet that's a really cool effect.
No, it's terrible effect. We're talking 1991
Made for TV.
TV effect. She just has a crystal around her neck, and then she pulls it out, and it's black. And then she runs
John,
to...
are you happy with anything in life?
Yes, I like the remake. We'll get to that. She runs to all her other crystals, and they're all black. Yeah, dun dun dun. You can skip all of these. They're all terrible. No, that's not true. 2's okay. The other 2, skip.
You were the fastest person at undercutting your message.
So
1991, that was the last one until this remake?
2006.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought they made a new TV show.
Yes, I think it came after the remake, though.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't watch that because I didn't know about it till I looked up The Omen on Wikipedia to see if there's any movies I missed, and there wasn't. There's a new one coming out, a prequel.
I love The Omen. It's one of my favorite horror movies. And I didn't mind. I was like, oh, these remakes around this time are usually okay. Texas Chainsaw. Mm-hmm. I was down. I was like, okay, cool. I like Liev Schreiber, but man, I was a little perturbed that I had to spend $15 on this.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I think it's pretty forgettable.
And what movie are we talking about?
The Omen from 2006.
Okay.
This one was directed by John Moore. Writing credit went to David Seltzer. He's the guy that wrote the original. However, if you dig in a little bit, it was Dan McDermott wrote the actual movie, but it was too similar to the original, so they didn't give him credit.
Yeah, what did he do? He was just like, he found and replaced all 70s scenes with 2006 technology,
Dream
and that was
sequences.
it? Oh, yeah, that's true. Those sucked.
So they just gave the writing credit to the guy from the 70s, which, fun factoid, Seltzer did an uncredited rewrite on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in the 70s. Oh. And they told him, like, look, we're not going to give you credit, but we'll go ahead and fully back your next film. So that seemed like a pretty good trade.
And was that the Omen?
I don't know.
Oh.
I was like, if it was the Omen, then
It wasn't.
Wonka.
That was like from 71 to 76, so there was something in between there.
Okay.
But, yeah. Something I didn't recognize. 'Cause
Willy
I did look into
Wonka,
it.
great movie. You want to know if I like things? Like that one.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
This one stars Liv Schreiber as Robert Thorne, Julia Stiles as Catherine Thorne. I have not seen Julia Stiles in a long time.
No.
Seamus Davy Fitzpatrick as Damien. David Thewlis as Keith Jennings. I like him in pretty much everything he shows up in.
Is that the photographer?
Yeah.
AKA knockoff Alan Rickman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did good.
Okay.
I mean, he was also in Harry Potter with Alan Rickman. And
Oh.
he was also Ares in Wonder Woman,
Oh.
which I thought was a bizarre choice. But hey, Mia Farrow as Mrs. Baylock. Michael Gambone as Bugenhagen.
Oh, I love when they're like, you got to get to the city of Miga Magawaga and talk to Bugenhagen. Like, what the hell are they saying?
Bless you. Gesundheit.
Yeah.
You'll recognize him. He played Dumbledore in the majority of the Harry Potter movies. We had Peter Postlethwaite. I'm so happy to see that guy. I love him in everything he's in. He played Father Brennan. You know him from Alien 3. He was...
Usual Suspects. He was Kobayashi.
He was also in Jurassic Park, Lost World, Waterworld, Dark Water, and Inception. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2011, but I'm always happy to see that guy pop up. That's probably all we need to know. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics scored it at 26%.
Ouch.
The audience, 40%.
Okay.
Budget of $25 million. It brought in $120 million. So
Call that a
that's
success.
why I got number 11 on the list.
I'm surprised they didn't make a sequel with that much money.
Yeah. At the time, it was the highest Tuesday grossing, but has since been dethroned.
And it came out on
The highest
June.
Tuesday grossing?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, get your accolades where you can get them, I guess. But
Importantly, it came out on June 6, 2006. 6606.
I know they
That was not a mistake.
Yeah.
thought they were so clever with that shit.
Very bright.
Someone patted themselves on the back when they're like, "We can do it. We can do 666."
Yeah, but not really, because there's that O in there. And now if it was 1960, they would have had it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, here's what the back of the DVD has to say about The Omen. The prophecy is clear, the signs unmistakable. Armageddon is upon us, and our darkest fears are revealed. In this quote-unquote truly terrifying film, says E! Entertainment. Remember that channel? Man's darkest fears are manifested as an unspeakable horror.
Oh, yeah, we got it.
It's unleashed on this world. U.S. diplomat Robert Thorne substitutes an orphan for his own stillborn baby in order to spare his unknowing wife, but after a series of grotesque murders and dire warnings, the Thornes come to the chilling realization that their child is the son of Satan.
Wow, they just blow everything out of the water in this back of the box.
Bro, if you don't know about The Omen in 2006.
A lot of people don't know about The Omen in 2006. Dude, there's people that don't know about 9/11, bro.
I admittedly don't know about 9/11. Do you guys want to tell me about that now?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we'll
we're
go
not-
off
We're
air,
not doing
yeah.
this on the podcast. We're moving on.
What I meant to say was I actually have never watched an Omen film until yesterday.
I know. I was
What?
excited for you to like finally
First
watch
one.
them.
Dude, if you're in the cultural zeitgeist, you know what a Damien is. You know about
Yeah.
the
You know what a
Omens.
Damien is.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
never felt compelled to sit through any of them.
I would have started you with 4 had I known that.
Guys, I
From
told
the
this
bottom.
I told us on the podcast before. I didn't know the actors in The Wizard of Oz from The Farm were the same actors that played the Lion, the Tin Man, and the fucking Scarecrow. So sometimes people just don't know things.
Yeah.
It's okay if you've never seen an Omen movie until
Yeah.
now.
Well, the back
Remember-
of the box ruined it for you, so
It
congrats.
did.
We grew up before the internet age when everything was at our fingertips and we just sat around guessing at things.
That's true. Yeah,
Is that a
okay.
masturbation reference?
Could be.
Okay.
Anything could be.
Yeah, that's try hard enough.
Well, what did you guys think of the Omen 2006 remake?
John, take us home.
Okay, I did not hate this. I thought it was
God, you are so negative.
I thought it was an okay movie. Now, my main gripe is that it is the 1976 Omen, just takes place in 2006. There's like no major differences. The cinematography is awesome, but like hearing the same lines in the same way, it just is really hammering home. All right, I could just go watch the OG Omen. And there's
but a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people think 70s, 60s movies and they don't go watch them. You know, they'll watch the remake, but they won't watch the old one. So keeping it as close as possible, I'm okay with, because it means it's not pissing on the original.
Yeah, but impart some of your own flair to it. Like,
I know, I agree. It's the reason I love the Marvel movies that they do. They take the stories I know, that I've known for years and years, and they add a little bit of something different to it. But in this case, I think I know what they're going for. They're just trying to reintroduce it to a new generation.
I think that remakes have the responsibility of justifying their existence.
Yes.
As well as respecting the original work. If it's too close, then I can see like if you've already seen, like, why did I just sit through this? But to a point, I think Garrett's right. Like, if a movie's too old, a certain audience, maybe the younger generation, will be less interested.
And so many people skirt that line of actually justifying an existence by making things shitty or pissing on the original concept in a way that they may not intended to. So again, I'm cool with them being pretty original. I mean, the kills and some of the dream stuff and all that was like fresh for 02 or whatever year it was, 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's only one new kill.
Well, was she like the way they shoot the things? Are
Yes,
very
the
different and stuff.
cinematography was
Again, that's what I'm
aces.
saying. It
Yeah.
does not feel the dog fight in the graveyard.
I know what the biggest change is between movie 76 and 06.
Ooh.
Was it 76?
Yeah.
I bet you the 1976 one didn't have a Razor scooter in it.
Oh, that's true. No, he was riding a big wheel, what's The Shining?
Yeah, red rum in it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I just justified it.
Yeah, that was the one change that one screenwriter made.
Big Scooter had their claws in this one.
The one thing I wondered if they were going to change from the original is when they open the grave and find his son with like the head bashed in, the skull bashed in. I was like, I wonder if they're going to show that in 2006. And they sure as fucking did.
Yeah.
Man, I was shocked that they actually kept that in.
I thought they were going to cut out the whole abortion thing.
Oh, no, you got to keep that in there. When that movie became Sophie's Choice 2, I was like, whoa.
This day and age, they would definitely cut that out, though. I don't think that would fly now.
I don't know. I think they lean more into like it's more of like a straight up horror and let's try to make it accessible to everyone else and keep that in there. It's so necessary because it's such a like hot button issue for the whole religious aspect of this side.
I think it's a important scene, but I don't know that it's. I mean, because ultimately, nothing comes of it. So,
Well, I mean, it's important because she's going to like take this thing out and he's like, oh no, a real baby of my own.
Without that, the movie's weaker.
I mean, I agree. I don't want them to cut it out. I just think they're cowards.
They are.
Hollywood, get it, John, you cowards.
Yeah.
You yellow bellies. Well, as my first Omen, I would give it like a 2.5 out of 5. Like, I thought it was fine. My biggest problem with the movie is the performance brought in by Liev Schreiber. That dude is so fucking wooden in this movie.
Yeah.
Compared to all the crazy shit that is happening around him, he is not emoting nearly as much as he should be. And I don't think he's a bad actor.
Damien in this movie is not as good either. Julia Stiles, I don't have anything really against Julia Stiles, but I just thought for the way she delivers some moments, it's just kind of like, I'm going to say my lines. And it was like, damn it, you're supposed to be a little more invested here.
Yeah.
I thought everyone just kind of, I don't want to say phone it in because they all were going hard, but man, it just, compared to the original, acting was not near as good.
Interesting.
I think
Gregory Peck was in the first one.
Yeah, Gregory Peck was. He did a great job.
Phenomenal.
But he also is very not stilted, but he's reserved, right? He's an ambassador, and I think that's what he.
But you could see on his face, though. You could see on his face when he's being reserved, but you can see he's being reserved for the moment. Like he's like, I have to hold shit together. Gregory Peck like gets that across. Liev Schreiber didn't really have that for me. It's kind of like he seemed like he was like confused.
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to capture. He just wasn't as good as Gregory Peck.
Yeah.
I think the new Damien, my problem with him is he's just immediately untrustworthy. Like everyone, I could like, oh yeah, he is the devil. I definitely could see that. Whereas the other,
Is there a better nuance to the original?
yes,
Okay.
like
The original Damon just seems like a cute little kid, and then you're like, oh wait, some fucked up shit's happened, and then it's like, wait, look at that kid. Is that kid part of this? What the fuck's going on here?
to be clear, as the audience, the movie never leaves you in doubt. That kid is the fucking Antichrist. But in the universe, he seems much more as a regular kid than.
Everyone in the 2006 remakes seems standoffish and unsure about Damien out the fucking gate, and the other one is
Yeah.
all like, why are you being like this, Damien? Damien, come here, I love you. You know, like they literally are like, and it does like John says, it does start to dawn on them, like, whoa.
So 06 Damien, like every scene with him, he's just like this very quiet. He refuses to speak most of the time. He glares at everything, and he just looks like a bad kid from minute one.
Young Damien, but 76 Damien is also a very quiet kid, but he looks more like just a quiet kid being quiet and reserved. And that's why it's such a shock when you're like, oh, when he's being quiet, that's bad news. New Damien is definitely like when he's like there, if he's on screen, he's glaring.
Yeah.
As if like the devil needs to take care of this.
To go back to my knock against Liev Schreiber's performance, is like when his wife is clearly emoting fear and scared for this child, he's like stone cold, like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's fine. It's like, you see the same shit that the audience has seen with this Damien already. What do you, like, bro?
And not only that, you got a rando kid, man. Like, even if you're not like, children are evil, you should still be like, well, I don't know anything about this child. Maybe I should look into this.
And this is where they did make a change, and I think it caused some of these problems. In the 76 Omen, it takes the wife a lot longer to start to be like, I don't think this kid is all...
Yes.
It's like, he's like, I think there's something wrong with my kid. Like, Julia Stiles is like...
This movie blows its load so fast. Like
5 minutes in.
The second scene is the party scene, and I'm like, my God. And the moment that happens, she's like, what if something's wrong with Damien? And I'm like, whoa. Like, she already hates this kid.
I'm surprised we didn't see any scenes of like a toddler Damien walking through halls and crosses flipping upside down as he walks through the hall.
This definitely has some 2000s like movie
vibe
trope
to
stuff,
it.
and it was like, oof.
So that was, I think that weekend, because then Liev Schreiber's trying to play Gregory Peck.
You nailed it. You nailed it with Julia Stiles' character. And I don't think this is on Julia. I think this is on...
it's on the script.
It's in the script. But yes, from the moment you get this, like, I don't like this kid. And you're like, wow. But in the original, like, you do. She comes to this realization.
Yeah, like much, much later. So I think that weekend...
it's hard for the character in 76, too. She's like, wait a minute, this is my kid. I can't dislike my kid. And this one, Julia Stiles is just like, hello. Julia Stiles is just like, I want it out.
Yeah,
you're
fuck
just like,
that kid.
damn. So, Mark, having this be your first Omen, obviously you two at 2.5. Okay. What did you think of the story, the concept? And understand the story, although doesn't play out quite as smoothly and impactful as the original one does, the story itself is almost beat for beat. What did you think of the overall Omen story?
So I have a background of being forced to go to church for a lot of my youth, right? I was exposed to something far more terrifying than this as a kid. I was exposed to a Rapture series called A Thief in the Night, which basically shows the rapture occur, and kids are standing around, and all of a sudden their parents are gone, but like a shaver is just on the sink, like cars start crashing into things.
Kids didn't get raptured?
Well, they were like teenagers. Oh. They were busy drinking and doing sinning. Oh. You know what I mean? So
the things that are really going to stop that salvation from happening.
So I'm already kind of used to this whole Antichrist storyline, but much in a more, at the time for me, when I watched it, holy shit, did that thing fuck me up.
Well, here's my question, though. All teenagers want to do is get out of their house and not live under their parents' rules. Having their parents get raptured would be the fucking perfect thing.
No, not really, though, because you're still very dependent on them to some degree.
I know, but I'm just saying at the time, kids would be like, fuck yeah, we can go drink whatever we want. We can go do drugs and...
But when the New World Order starts knocking at your door, Garrett, and asking you to take the mark of the beast, if you take that mark of the beast, you're going to hell forever.
You mean like the one I have on my hand here?
You're lucky that's just a tattoo and not the real mark of the beast.
Oh, but you know what? Does it matter to Jesus? I don't think it does.
And if you don't get the mark of the beast, you get your head chopped off via guillotine.
Yeah.
Wait, so what's the difference between a tattoo of the mark of the beast versus being marked by the beast? Like, is it like a raised? Do I need to get
you don't
this
have
branded?
the computer chip in you.
Yeah.
So I gotta get it branded on top of my tattoo.
Right.
So I just gotta get it raised.
That would probably work. Maybe like a barcode in the middle.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, does the New World Order use barcodes?
Oh, definitely.
This is all theoretical, Garrett.
Yeah. Well, it's probably RFIDs now. So.
Okay, all right.
It's not in Revelations. Here's the blueprint of what the Mark of the Beast will look like.
And lo, the grocery scanner said, not this one.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. In the OG Omens, they have Bible verses in the beginning and the end.
Yes.
They cut those in 06. They're like, 06 we don't need all this Bible
No,
stuff.
you're right. It doesn't have it at the end.
Yeah, no Bible.
I watched the original Omen right after I watched the remake again. So I was like, God, I love this movie. I love this story. And then I was like, I miss 76. So I went back.
Well, let me wrap it back around to your question.
Wrap it up.
Right? So all that being said, I went through a large period of my teens and 20s, like kind of shedding off of this religious stuff that I had been indoctrinated with my entire life. So the stuff that deals with religious iconography and ideals just doesn't really do much for me anymore. When I was religious, this shit hit a lot harder because I was like, this could be real. you know, this could be the Antichrist. I don't really subscribe to that anymore. So now I'm just like, okay, let's just watch it. As a horror movie, I didn't think it was all that scary.
Yeah, it's not really supposed to be
know?
scary. It's definitely a 70s, like, you know, horror movie where it's like, oh, God, that's a creepy, like Amityville Horror is a good example.
Yeah.
Amityville Horror is not a super scary movie, but like at the time, it's like, this is a mind fuck. And Damien at that time was also like to see it play out that way. Plus, the original 76 dealt with some heavy topics: abortion, you know, like the decapitation that happens in the original one. It was pretty heavy.
But I do find the story interesting, right? So I feel like you guys telling me that the 76 one is still the superior out of the two, right? You would.
It's definitely dated in certain aspects, but it still holds up. Like the dogfight in the cemetery is still rad.
Okay.
It's
So
Much slower.
I think I'd rather go back and watch. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, I know what a 70s movie is, you know, so I'd be
Yeah,
okay with
exactly. The pacing back then was just very different, but it works. It definitely still
The
works.
build up in the 76 one is also fantastic because it to John's point earlier, it is a much slower build. The revelations of evil are dawning as opposed to like and go, you know. So while a slower movie, the reveal and the understanding of like, oh, this is actually crazy important.
Yeah. The impact on the viewer that, hey, this is literally the son of Satan. This is Damien. Outside of knowing what that is, like, it doesn't really come across of why this is so threatening. Like, if you're not a religious person at all, you watch this, you see this like kind of creepy little kid. The worst part of the movie to me was Liv Schreiber, Robert Thorne's choice to lie to his wife about a kid.
Oh, the old switcheroo.
That was far more emotionally impacting to me than, oh, we got to kill the son of the devil.
Mark, you're married, man. You're gonna have to get with this. You're just gonna have to lie to your wife about a kid some point.
Not like
No,
this.
that's
Not like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still single for a reason.
To me, that was way more emotionally investing for me hating this character.
interesting. Like in the OG one, in the 76 one, that's the first scene of the movie.
Yes.
So like in the remake, to sort of start the plot, it starts with them seeing the Star of Bethlehem and like
Yeah, the Vatican has a space program, evidently.
Yes.
Because there's a monk looking through a giant like telescope and
yeah.
sees the three comets.
The observatory. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we cut to a PowerPoint presentation where they're like, look at all this bad shit that's happening. And they go through like, you know, 9/11 and the Space Shuttle Columbia, Britney Spears, just like click, 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 click.
Like, isn't society falling apart? Get it?
Yeah. Don't you know that every single like generation thinks they are the last generation
definitely.
before the rapture occurs? It's been happening since Jesus said, "I'll be back," and bounced.
But like in my mind, what I
Jesus went out for a pack of cigarettes and never
Yes.
came back.
I like the idea though of them thinking like the Antichrist is being born, and they're like, somebody give me a computer. I need to make a fucking slideshow for the Pope about this.
I don't have a license for office. I can't do it.
Mauricio, your slide's done. We got to present at 7 p.m.
I need $100 so I could buy a license and save my project.
So the Pope is just like,
That's
I like what I'm seeing here,
Yeah.
guys.
all right, well, what are we going to do about this? And then it cuts to
Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber racing to
Robert
the
Thorne.
hospital. Robert Thorne racing to the hospital.
And his wife's name is Katie, right?
Kate.
Katie, okay.
Kate.
Kate. Well, Katie, I call her Kate.
Yeah,
But
friends. Her friends call her Katie.
Close friends call her Kate.
Yeah, Kay.
Her full Christian name is Catherine.
Catherine.
See?
Okay, so
Giving
Catherine
me shit over there, John.
and a doctor comes out and is like, it was a very complicated pregnancy. I'm sorry, your baby didn't make it. Also, your wife can't have kids anymore. I'm just giving you all the bad news at once. And
He breaks down as if his life is over.
the doctors in this hospital, because I assume this is where he comes back later,
Yes.
are the worst. Because we already talked about the abortion. So, you know that Catherine is pregnant again. And he's like, my wife was pregnant. And they go, no. Like,
Well, that's
damn, dude.
different hospital. Different hospital.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all doctors just suck
different
England.
hospitals.
Side note: after we get the Revelations 7, 8, all the trumpets are blowing.
Yeah.
The prophecy's coming true from the Bible, right?
4 horsemen.
All the cast, all the cast names, if they have an O in their name, it turns into a 6.
Yep.
Like, I did
And all the
appreciate that little
T's
effect.
turn into upside down crosses.
Yeah, I was like, okay, nice job.
The intro credit scene was very good, actually.
Very
liked it.
06,
The music
though.
was a little bit too intense for it. It was like, boom, 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 boom. You're like, all right, calm down. We haven't even started yet, guys.
Armageddon's happening, Garrett. It's gonna be big and bombastic.
So now this was weird though, because the first one, I don't think that the priests were in on like, let's give them the Antichrist. And the original one, it seemed like they're just kind of like, hey, we got an option.
No,
for
he
you.
was. Yeah.
Oh, he was?
He
Okay.
was. Yeah. So yeah, then another priest sort of swoops in and is
Yeah,
like,
the thing is, it seems like another guy.
well, so the
Because in the original one, I think it's another person that comes in and is like, hey, I got a fix for your problem there, bud. Hey, I heard what happened. I can hook you up.
Does he open his coat and go, I got a baby?
It seemed like the same dude in the remake was like, hey, I'm sorry to hear about your baby, but hey, I got a plan B for you. That's actually a bad choice of words in this situation.
I can't remember. Yeah, because I know he in both scenes he's like, I was there at the hospital,
Yeah.
but I don't remember if he was the same guy.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, regardless, basically they're like, hey, yeah, you know what? Your baby died in pregnancy. Your wife's going to live, but she can't have babies. But tell you what, we got a backup option for you here if you're interested. We got extra babies. We're the Vatican.
Yeah, spare kid just for you. What is it going to take to get you into a kid today?
You got one of those pull doors on the back of a truck. Which baby you want? The wife don't gots to know.
That's basically what he does.
This one fell off a truck. What do you want for it?
Like, I knew the parents, but they're dead now. So this baby is a good baby. He looks just like you. Wife, don't even tell your wife. And this guy goes, yeah, that seems like a really good idea. I could
seems
definitely.
like for a moment he's almost going to struggle with it, and he's just like, no, I see no problems here.
Yeah, I could definitely live this lie for my whole life.
There is almost absolutely no scenario where I could sit there and say, I'm going to lie to my wife about the birth of our child dying, and then I replaced it with another one. The
You
old
want to talk about
switcheroo.
living in stress. That's
Yeah.
one that you got to be worried that will always pop back up somehow.
Yeah, and I think, what does he say? Look, your wife's going to be really sad if she finds out. It was like, what?
That's his pitch. Do you want a sad wife? Buddy, when this kid doesn't look anything like us, I'm going to get a sad wife.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this white man's going to have an Italian baby?
I mean, awesome. Right? It's like, why are you talking with your hands so much, Davey?
And this baby comes out with a Maury's Wigs toupee out the gate because they have to cover up the mark of the beast under its hair.
Yes.
Because you're not supposed to know where it is. But like this baby has a full head of hair. Now, my roommate was like, this can actually happen. Like babies can just come out like
I did.
fully haired.
Full head.
Really?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, John.
No, it's all right. It's going now, but but at the time,
You Italian wolf child, you.
pretty much, yeah.
So, but like I was like, holy shit! It looked like a little toupee on, like right out the gate of the movie. I was like, wow! And then they kind of do this like little montage scene where you see Damien growing up to the age of 5.
Was that kind of like a home video
Yes.
or something?
yeah, America's
Kate spending
deemiest
time
home
with him.
videos.
Yeah,
So then it's they're at a park, and this is where we get the first clues that Damien's a little bastard.
just Kate and Damien.
Yeah, just Kate and Damien. Thank you. So Kate gets like a phone call, turns around.
Well, they're feeding the geese at first, and I was like, if this little fucker kills this goose, I was like,
yeah.
I'll be so pissed.
But no, he does something much worse to a parent, but also evil because he's
Much
the
worse?
Antichrist.
Okay.
Than killing a goose? I mean, making your mom think that you drowned to death?
I think as a child, slaughtering an animal in front of your parents is probably much more concerning than basically having them disappear for like 2.5 seconds.
All right, you got me there.
Okay.
I'll cede the point.
Let's keep this in perspective, John.
So she turns around to take a phone call on her 2006 cell phone. So she's using two
playing
hands.
Snake.
Yes, exactly. And Damien runs away. She turns around. She's like, Damien, where are you?
And this is the first time they've said his name too.
Oh, true.
So it's this big like
Reveal.
It's like you pause. She's about to say something. You pause. You're like, I know what she's gonna say, and it's like Damien. It's like, yeah.
The crowd goes wild.
Woo! And she can't find him. He doesn't respond. She's looking all around. Then it cuts to the lake, and there's like a weird bubbly.
Yeah, like a little pond.
Yeah. So she's like, oh my God, my son is drowned in 3 seconds. And then,
And the thing is, in the pond where the bubbles are coming from, it is way out in the middle
Yes.
of the pond. There's no way this kid could have gotten halfway out to that area without making some kind of noise. But the fact that she jumps to that immediately, like, he's 40 meters out, drowning.
I knew we shouldn't have given him those Olympic swim lessons. So she starts running, and then Damien jumps out from behind a tree. Boo! And he's like, "Oh, did I scare you?" And he's like, "Yeah, bitch, you
Did I
fucking
do
scare
that?
me." Yes, that'd been awesome.
Circle.
And then they hug, and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, she scolds him, and she's like, "Don't you ever
Yeah.
do that again." And the thing is, like, she's really scolding him. Now, I can't say how stressed or angry I'd be as a parent if I thought my kid had died and then realized that they hadn't been. I think I'd be more relieved.
No, I
But,
think you go through relief and then anger.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Again, I don't have children, so I'm not going to like judge parents for their reactions to the situation. But he just kind of doesn't care.
Nah, he's like, I'm gonna do it again.
He's just kind of like, you can tell he's going to get a kick out of it, and it's like, damn, this little shit. And he's already like, and this is the first time we really see Damien as the character we're going to see him as the whole movie, and he is grimacing and like mean mugging everything. Like when he's getting a hug by the mom, he's just like staring at the screen like, you fuckers are gonna get it. And it's like, damn, dude. And that's the thing, is the original Damien seems like a small child for quite a while.
Yeah.
You know, you think he's like, oh, I'm sorry, mom, I didn't mean to scare you. And you're like, oh, poor Damien, he didn't know any better. And it's like, in this one, you're like, oh, this little shit.
Yeah, he's
like,
such a dick right out the gate.
Yeah.
I did skip a scene. It's a new scene for the movie. That's why I wasn't in either of our brains.
All right.
After the birth, Robert Thorne finds out he's become the deputy ambassador to England.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
he has.
And
They're
he's
going to move to the UK.
right. And
Pack your bags, honey. We're going to Londinius.
then Final Destination happens in our Omen movie.
Oh man, I was like, Rube Goldberg
I'm gonna say,
machine, where are
the
you
Rube
at?
Goldberg that is Italy.
So some guy is dragging a manhole cover on a
They're doing
chain.
construction in the middle of an Italian street, and the current prime minister is stuck in traffic.
Ambassador.
I'm sorry. Ambassador is stuck in traffic, and everyone's doing construction around it. And yes, you watch this scene, and immediately I was like, oh, we're getting a Final Destination here.
Who moves manhole covers like that?
Look, that was that homeless man's pet. All right, that was his pet
Okay.
manhole cover.
Fair enough.
He didn't want it getting away.
He knocks out a block that was holding a truck full of gas, which then starts rolling down the street,
yep.
smashes into the ambassador's limo, pours gas all over
The
it.
back end of it busts open from hitting the side of a limo, pouring gasoline inside the limo.
Of course.
Now, a homeless man walking down the street also is smoking a cigarette and flicks the butt into the street.
The gas goes over the butt. Instead of putting it out, lights up. Boom.
Boosh.
Ambassador's dead. Now Robert Thorne's the ambassador.
The fire goes into the car, the limo, burns up, and I was like, oh, what a way to go. And then it explodes just to add a cherry on top. And I'm like, good God, 2006.
It was like the gas truck's tank was made of eggshells.
Pretty
Because it
much.
just
Duct
like
tape over the
crushed
back just
right
to-
open.
yeah.
And it was like a fountain just pouring straight into the window of the limo. I'm like, wow.
It's also like, weren't there any brakes on that truck? Because was it just that wooden block holding the truck back?
Must have been.
Also, this movie does one of the cardinal sins of anybody in a movie where I can forgive a lot of stuff, but when something smashes into the left side of your car, try to get out on the right.
Yeah.
Don't try to open the car door that's smashed against a pouring gasoline truck.
Multiple
Go to
times.
the other side.
Away from the danger, if
Yes.
you will.
Yeah. Or just out the top. I mean, there's so many options.
Well, it
This
takes
guy-
time to get a sunroof open, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, if something smashes, if someone punched me in my left shoulder, I wouldn't basically run to my left. I would go to my right. And
Fair
it's just
point.
like
Yeah.
common sense. That's one of the few things that I'm just like, you sons of bitches. But
And-
anyway, so he dies.
Yes.
So guess what? It's promotion time.
Congratulations, Robert. You're now the boss.
And this like really like she's like, you earned this. And he's like, did I? And I was like, yeah, did he?
He's very sanguine about it. He's like, I don't know that I did, but he's like, well, the president's sister wanted this. I was like, all right, so the president doesn't like his sister.
So you find out that Robert Thorne is the president's godson, the U.S. president's godson. So nepotism, maybe. But at this point, you realize he's got a connection to the U.S. president.
And let me also just say, they're moving into what looks like the Buckingham fucking palace.
yeah.
Huge.
There's no way an ambassador has that kind of cash.
Well, the thing is, the ambassador doesn't.
President's godson. All right, guys.
The ambassador gets a house. He doesn't have to go find a house in the country that he's assigned to. He just gets one that the government gave him. It might be a fancy house, but he's not house shopping. But anyway,
What do you think it's like to raise a kid in a house that big? You would never find that little
no.
no, that's why you
He
get
lost.
a nanny.
fucker. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which they did.
Speaking of which,
Next scene, we're at Billy Madison's birthday party.
Dude, what a party.
it looked like Billy Madison's birthday party. I thought the same thing.
Goddamn carousel. You know, they got food trucks.
Bounce houses,
My
fireworks.
roommate at this point goes, I don't think ambassadors get paid this much.
No. I was like, oh, this is
nope.
how the other half lives.
Yeah. The other half's other half. This is like the top 1%. but-
Yeah,
Man,
no
it
shit.
was fucking crazy. It was this huge blowout. And so the kids are running around, having a little bit of a blast.
Damien, he's being cared for by his current nanny. And at some point, like the mother, Kate, takes Damien away and then she just stares off at a wolf.
So she,
Right?
So that's the hounds of hell. That's
Yeah.
a hound of hell, and that's a common thing. With,
Okay.
the son of Satan and all that good stuff. So that's
That's Cerberus.
that's Well, it's not Cerberus.
He's just like
But story accurate.
He hits people with the sort of voodoo
whammy.
hoodoo look. The whammy,
He puts
yeah.
the Satan whammy on you.
Whammy.
That is exactly what he does.
Okay, well done, Mark.
So, real-time update. Ambassadors, the top salary for an ambassador is $222,000 a year.
You could not afford that
Yeah,
house.
it's not,
Hell no.
it's
That's
not
nepotism.
peanuts,
That-
but
that
it's
was
not...
That was full president's godson shit
Yeah.
right there.
That's some like you become a duke, you get the duke's castle.
Yes.
Wait a minute. If he's the president's godson, does that make him president godfather?
The president's the
Because
godfather,
I'm seeing Marlon Brando. Like my American people.
That would have been awesome. My vote is for President Godfather.
Yes. So the party's raging, as a 5-year-old party does.
Yes. So the nanny gets the whammy put on her.
Now, the thing is like Damien's staring at the nanny. And you get a little bit more of this in the original as opposed to the new one. I think the nanny's like, come on, it's time to stop playing or something like that. And then Damien's kind of pissed. He's like, well, fuck that noise. And so he kind of like is giving her the old stare down like, you little bastard.
Like some of these kills just seem like just because.
The original one seems a little more
Well,
organic.
they're killing the nanny so that Miss Baylor can come. Baylock, because she is in on the whole thing. That's
Right.
why they're making the old switcheroo here with the nannies.
In tandem, if
yeah,
you
but
will.
they can't just fire the nanny because this is the devil. So,
Go big or
out of
go
here.
home.
Yes.
You get a pink slip with a couple sixes on it and be like, oh, I know what this means. I'm out.
So this is the scene that most everyone remembers and knows from the Omen. The party's going, and then we cut to a wide shot down where the people are, and you look up, and the nanny is on top of this giant palatial house. She's like, Damien, look at me. It's all for you, Damien. And she's got a noose around her neck, and we pause. Everyone looks. Okay. When she goes, Damien, look at me. Did you guys see the puppets stop and look up at her?
Yeah.
No.
I laughed my ass off. The puppets
That was pretty good.
turned their heads to look up because there's a little puppet show at this party.
Awesome.
Fucking cracked me up. I rewound it. I was like, no way did those puppets just look up. Not the puppeteer looking up and
No,
saying,
no.
what's going on?
It's like one of those where they would have the club and beat the other one. Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
What are those hand
Punch and
puppets?
Judy?
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. But they look up at her on the roof and she's like, Damien, it's all for you. Your party's got to suck if someone's like, this is what I got to do to liven this shit up.
Right.
So she jumps off, hangs herself. Then the crowd starts reacting as if there's an active shooter.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? Did a rabbit have Alina just come in and start fucking everybody up?
They're screaming hysterically and running. Don't get me wrong. I understand the screams.
I love it that they show this woman and she's on screen for probably about 5 to 6 seconds. Ah! It's like so delayed. I'm like, all right.
That's kind of similar to the first one. There's a pause of like disbelief and then like the response.
But the
But
real question is, where'd you find like 12 feet of rope?
where did she get shoes that weighed 40 pounds? Because her little like fucking ked falls off and hits the table below it and smashes like 14 wine bottles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lots of
the
questions.
punch bowl.
Yes.
Yes.
Shatters the punch bowl.
Yeah. It was, but that's the scene that everyone knows. And this is where my remake comes in. All right.
Okay.
That nanny, she didn't want to kill herself. Damien did that to her. Mrs. Baylock basically, they put the whammy on her with the devil dogs. Whammy! So she gets resurrected through the power of the crow and gets to come back and get her revenge on the son of Satan, the Crowman.
I love it. Yeah.
And
Nanny
I've pitched this idea previous in the past on the episodes.
I remember you saying something about the crow.
But
Yeah.
I've changed it up. Now it's going to be the nanny instead of the son of Satan. So the Crowman is the nanny getting to come back and get revenge for basically being
I dig it.
Satan whammied.
Hollywood, stop being cowards. Get at us.
Get the fuck at us. Anyway, so the nanny's dead. And this is one of the most famous scenes from The Omen. I really love this scene because as a kid, well, like in my teens, this fucked me up. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. Because this is a 5-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah.
And Keith, the photographer, is here. I never actually know if they ever said his name. I just kept calling him the
He
photographer.
does introduce himself a couple times to Robert.
Yeah, and he's snapping photos of everything going on. And that's just important to notate because that'll come up later.
Yes.
Yes. We cut to work because Robert's getting out of the car.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they're
he
like,
knocks him down.
Mr. Thorne, do you got anything to comment? He's like, I'm here to meet the Saudi ambassador. I don't have time for these questions. And then he knocks Keith, the photographer, down. And then he's like, I'm so sorry. Send me the bill. And he's like, tell you what, you just owe me one.
Why would the American ambassador be being the Saudi ambassador in London?
Dude, we don't have time for the kind of politics that this would take.
Fair
to
enough.
get to,
Fair enough. Okay.
So this is where we get Keith to introduce to, the ambassador. Now, is this also where the Father O'Houlihan is waiting for him in the...
Father Brennan shows up.
Father Brennan,
and
that's what it is.
he asked to have a meeting with the ambassador. And he's like, you want me to go handle this? And the ambassador's like, nah, I'll go talk to him.
Yeah,
We'll see what's up.
I got this. I'll talk to a priest.
This is like a great example of why don't come at someone at 120%.
Dude, this father is just out the gate, like shooting scripture and nonsense. Like, that's not how you get, you got to lure them in,
Yeah.
you know, make them feel comfortable first before you hit them with the crazy.
He's not a car salesman. He's just like, I'm here to tell you to kill your son. Your wife's in danger. He's the Antichrist.
Your boy was birthed from a jackal.
Yeah,
Like, whoa.
He starts by he says the little like scripture thing, but it rhymes, and he's like, it's just like they sings like a little poetry
Yeah.
to him, and then there's a pause, and I expected Robert Thorne to be like, nice, cute, it rhymes, you know?
Right.
But yes, he gives him the old like 1-2, like, your son has to be killed.
Yeah, and you don't just need to stab him once, 7 times in a pattern. So write this down.
Well, also the way he reveals it was cool because he's like, I'm here to talk about your son. Yeah, they're good. No, and he's like, no. I know I was at the hospital. And then
Yeah.
Robert comes back like he's going to be like, you shut your damn whore mouth right now, you know?
Oh, yeah. He's like, you know my secret.
Like, I was raised in the street. You think I'm afraid to take a case? You know, like,
Yeah.
he was like, you think he's going to go hard. And he's like, my wife and kid are fine. And that's his, like, go-to line. And I'm like, dude, you need to be a little more concerned that someone's here about to blow the cover on your fake baby.
Well, I
Right.
think the reason he might not be concerned is look at this guy. Who's going to believe this dude who is clearly off his rocker?
The Vatican is very powerful.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with the Vatican.
If that's true,
Yeah.
why is this their representative?
Oh, it's not, though.
I thought, no, Brennan was just basically, he's part of like,
He's off the-
he's in on it.
He's living in a cement bunker with pages of the Bible.
God, what a
all
great
over it.
apartment room.
Yeah, he was
My
like,
roommate was like, I want that to be my background image for my Zoom calls. And I was like, fucking do it.
That'd be
I
awesome.
was like, do it right
as long
now.
as you still have train car sounds going above you as you're hiding out down there. But he's like, yeah, his mother was a jackal. And he's like, okay, bye, gotta go, crazy man.
I thought he was going to be like, you call my wife a jackal?
Is that the punchline to a joke? And his mom was a jackal.
So Father Brenham sees himself out while Keith, the photographer, happens to be here as well, snaps some more photos of
He's on
his
the
father.
ambassador beat.
Yeah.
I guess. Is he like the TMZ for ambassadors and he just follows them around
It's
everywhere?
like Tiger beat, but for political officials.
Like he's like okay, I guess I'll let it go. It's just weird. He was everywhere he needed to be at all times.
You don't know how popular ambassadors are, okay?
I couldn't name one.
That's because they're out of the country. In England, guys like the Beatles, okay?
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
Now, this is the scene where I first started really having a problem with the remake, is because now we cut to home. Robert comes home, and Kate's sitting there on the couch, like rubbing her head, like, this migraine, if only I had some Nuprin. And he's like, how was your day? And she's like, I interviewed all the nannies. None of them are good, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, look, we both had bad days. Let's just let it go. And she's like, I'm just so sick of this kid. Like, she's like, at this point, she's like full on, like, I don't want to be a mother.
Well, she does get there, but first he's like, well, maybe we don't need a nanny. And she's like,
oh, yes. He's like, you
what?
can spend more time with your child and bond with them. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking
She's
about?
like, that is the most offensive thing any human has ever said to me. Do you know what I'm doing here?
That's
all
also-
day.
Also a very male thing to say. It's
Yeah.
like, why don't you mother the kid, huh?
She's like, just gave him the death stare. Best acting in the movie. She's like, you fucked up big time, bro.
But this is where you get the feeling that she does not want to be around Damien. She hasn't gone like, I'm scared of him yet, but like you can tell she does not want to have a connection with this kid. But the way she presents it is it's resentment and frustration
Yeah.
as opposed to like, why don't I love my child as much as I should? Which is what the first one kind of had more of. And this one's more like, get him out. I want him out of my house.
I don't want to see that kid. I will say, I was like, man, as a husband, I've been there, dude. I know what you're going through right now, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Oh, it's really easy to do.
Yeah. I was like, oh, landmine.
I wish she would have said something like, I don't want to be around this son of Satan, the spawn of the devil. You know, like it's a joke.
Really
and they're
hammer
like,
it home, yeah. Like, but what if?
This kid's the real Antichrist, isn't he?
So bada bing, bada boom. She's like, fine, we don't need a nanny. And then out of nowhere, Mrs. Poppins is at the door.
And this scene,
Mrs. Baylock shows up.
saying this basically happens like
She
this.
flew in with an umbrella almost, but like an evil one.
Yeah,
She's like meth head Mary Poppins.
it's like a bone
so great.
umbrella. So,
Mia Farrow plays Mrs. Baylock, who's auditioning, interviewing, yeah, auditioning for the nanny position, and she is gung ho. She's all about it.
yeah, and they do this in the original and in this one, where the parents are just like, we don't remember you, and she's like, oh, the agency. You know, sometimes they mess. Here's my paper.
Paperwork must have gotten lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. And they're like, all right, it sounds legit. Let me show you Damien.
Yeah, this is our child. Go ahead, rando stranger we haven't fully vetted.
I feel like there'd be another layer of protection, like maybe an agency that would be doing the interviewing process before they just like, all right, you're hired.
Yeah.
You know what? For Tom, Dick, and Harry out in the wild, okay, maybe this is what happens. But you are a U.S. ambassador to the fucking UK.
Yeah.
You're going to have a little bit of protection, a little bit of like resources at your availability.
I'm thinking they're doing background checks before they let people work for you.
It's also weird that neither parent was like, this is a little weird.
Yeah,
Isn't it? Maybe we should call the agency real quick before we greenlight this
To
person.
be fair, Robert doesn't want to deal with his wife. His wife doesn't want to deal with the kid. This works out for everybody.
So they invite Satan's co-worker into their home.
His hanger-on, if
His
you will.
hanger-on, yeah.
So yeah, she's part of some kind of like, she's in on the whole. Now, I thought originally the first time I ever saw this movie, I was like, ooh, that's his mother. Like come to take care of him, but it's not. It's
No.
not. This is just a
Satan
satanic
groupie.
lady, yeah. Satan groupie, if you will. I like it.
Then we cut to Keith looking at his photos.
Okay. And I have a note. This is a 2006 movie through and through because the man is in a fully glassed dark room.
I miss dark rooms in movies.
It is nothing but glass all the way around. It's like the point of a dark room is it's supposed to be cut off from ambient light, and this thing is not. It's like a fucking like greenhouse.
But his dark room
for
is
photos.
in a dark room.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's more like one of them sanitized chambers or
Yeah.
something. You know
He's
what
even
I
got
mean?
to put on a suit to get in there.
But it's like his
No, you're
apartment's
right.
just the lights are off on the apartment, but it's still like you can see everything in the apartment. So it's enough ambient light in there where it's not. It's gonna fuck up your.
He
photos.
also had so much red light that his room was glowing.
Yeah.
It's like
Now you've brought up another thing that I'd forgotten that I wanted to talk
a
about, John.
500-watt bulb in there.
This movie is the fucking bluest movie I have seen in a long time.
Someone call Eiffel 65.
Indeed, I'm sure he was one of the cinematographers on this thing. I understand that movies will put blue filters on things, but this was so fucking blue, it looks like the guys forgot to white balance before they shot this thing.
Oh, the blue and also the handy Steadicam that they were doing in certain scenes, like at the opening when they're at the hospital. The Steadicam, when the dude was like holding the camera, was so shaky. I was like, stop moving.
My favorite part is after the beheading, where suddenly the can is like I wrote, "Is there an earthquake?"
That's what it was. It's an earthquake.
Oh, that was supposed to be an
It's
earthquake.
supposed to represent like an earthquake because it's basically the apocalypse is coming. It's finally coming
It's like
to fruition.
this is like a 2003 music video.
No, I literally thought it was the director shaking the film at me.
Yes.
He's like, get it?
I think it's supposed to be like a feel like of an earthquake type.
Oh, well,
It was bad.
it was
Yeah.
so bad.
Well, look, I understand that the UK has a lot of like overcastness, but this was clearly a color correction gone too far.
Well, let's talk more about the color correction and the lighting when we get to the under the bridge scene. This movie has some of the biggest cinema sins. Okay, so the scene with the dark room, the guy develops the photos, Keith, and he sees like these white lights and stuff like that in the photos, and you're not really sure what's going on, but he's really interested in them.
Right. So he sees Father Brennan and he sees some sort of like piercing ethereal shape coming towards his head. And as he continues to develop more photos, it's getting closer and closer to him. Mm-hmm. He also develops the photos of the nanny that hung herself, and he sees like an ethereal noose around her
Yeah.
neck.
Yeah.
Which was this in the originals?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
all
Okay.
in there. But
It's not as 2006 up, but yes, it's
yes.
in there.
Okay.
This leads to my favorite part later where Keith shows the ambassador the photo. He's like, "Do you see anything?" And he's like, "No, I don't." He's like, "It's right here." And it points to this very obvious news article.
Like a Sharpie ran it
Yeah.
down the thing. It's like, oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, were you even looking at the photo, dude? Because
No.
obviously not.
Is this where Robert comes home and sees the dog for the first time, or is this where they go to the church?
Church is next.
Damien's going to go to church, I guess, for the first time, because the thing that occurs in the car feels like that would have happened sooner.
Well, I think
if
it's
he'd
like
been to
some kind
church
of
before.
confirmation or some kind of like, like they say it's like some kind of like event.
Well, maybe. So it is possible. They don't. Now I'm going to hit you with some headcanon.
Okay.
This isn't in any of the movies, but it is possible 5 or something is the age where his powers start to awaken. So maybe this is the first time he has gone to church.
So on his 5th birthday, that's when he was able to finally kill that nanny.
Yeah, he's like, God, I can't wait right.
Why wasn't it the 6th birthday on the 6th month of the 66th rotation of the Earth?
Much clearer, but instead they do it now. Because now this is also when the nanny shows up and shit starts to happen, right? So there must be something.
Maybe there is some kind of trigger. This finally the time is
I'll
nigh.
take it.
Yeah.
So Ms. Baylock is like, oh, Kate, your son is so sick. You should really just let him stay home and play hooky with me.
Yeah, it sounds
Did we say that Mrs. Baylock is played by Mia Farrow?
You did.
Yeah. You
Okay. I love the fact that she was in this. She's so cool and all the stuff she does.
She did a great job in this role, but she did here. It definitely sounded like me trying to get out of church. I don't feel good. Yeah, I'm very clammy.
Yeah.
You want to know what my trick was? I just pretend to be asleep. And every time my dad would be like, come on, we got to get up for church, I would just not move.
That worked.
Probably about 35% of the time.
We had to go someplace.
It was a higher probability of me not going than if I was awake and communicative.
Fair.
Okay,
All right.
fair.
So, and
Can't go dad dead.
More or less.
But no, did you guys notice? And this again, this is the artist nerd in me. Like when Mia Farrow's when Blaylock's looking down at Julia Stiles in the big area with the cool patterned floor, the camera focuses on the pattern of the floor. And Julia Stiles' character is blurry. Like the camera didn't focus right.
Oh.
And so it's like, I'm like, they didn't focus on the right thing in the scene.
Yeah, autofocus took over.
yeah, there's a focus puller. It's supposed to be a guy doing that, or a girl.
You first see, this is the point where Kate and Baylock are like kind of butting heads. She's like, you get my kid downstairs in 5 minutes. Like, you don't get to backtalk me. Like, who the fuck do you think you are?
You know what? If it were me, you out of here.
Yeah, fired on the spot.
Why can't you fire this chick?
Yeah, it's weird.
No one wants her there.
And then later on, they're like, how's the new nanny working out? She's like, great. And I'm like, not really. Not really at all.
You hate her, but
I've never felt so challenged. It's wonderful. But yeah, so they're on their way to church. And this scene plays out exactly like it did for Mark when he was young.
yeah, even with the heavy breathing, I assume, right? The anger breathing.
Yes, there was a whole motorcade. I would get in a limo. They
The Angela breathing from Sleepaway Camp that he decides to do. But no, he attacks Kate. Damien like starts losing his shit when he starts seeing all the church and the Christian imagery and stuff like that. And he starts attacking Kate with the strength of like 10 gorillas. Like he's going off.
And they're just like, and they hand wave it later. Or the dad, Robert, hand waves it later. He's like, oh, he was just scared. I'm like, Robert, your kid's got problems, dude. That's not being scared.
He doesn't seem to be pulling him off of her either. He's just like, Damien, that's your mom. Don't do it, bro.
Quit it, stop it. And then they go back home.
Yeah, they're like, and that all happens in the original too. But in the original, they are more worried, and they both are
the dad is like not like, hey, just get us out of here. And the original one, he's like, what the fuck is going on?
And that's when they talk about like he's never been sick, no mumps, no measles.
Which we also get this scene from Kate, but again, she's like, "Did you ever notice you've never gotten sick? Huh, that's weird." And I'm just like, you should be a little more concerned about this.
Just kind of how they do it in the original, though. They're not ready to make the jump yet, but the dominoes are getting placed.
And this is the scene where Robert comes home and then like goes upstairs to check on Damien sleeping after everything went down. And there's a fucking dog in the house, and it is a Rottweiler, and it starts growling. And he turns, he's like, good boy. And I was like, wait a minute, you don't know this dog?
Well, yeah, but you're just trying to stay calm so you can put some space between you and the dog.
Oh, no, you got to flex on a dog, man.
Now, if you run, dogs chase. That's rule
fine.
number one.
You don't run. You fucking post up, bro.
Oh, you get big. I see, like a bear.
You're just like, girl, what's up now, dog?
So again, this is a home, the Buckingham Palace, that belongs to a U.S. ambassador.
It belongs to the dogs now, Mark. The Baja men have moved in.
Let loose the hounds.
And Mrs. Baylock comes out and she's like, oh, you found, this is our new dog. We found him outside. Like, what? No, don't be bringing stray dogs into my house, lady.
Yeah, he's like, at what point did I ever give you permission to bring a dog? And I was like, what a weird way to phrase it. Like, bitch, don't bring dogs into my house.
How it should have went is like, okay, ma'am, you're fired. Get the fuck out of here. Take the dog with you. You clearly don't know how this works.
Your severance package.
Yeah. Does this rabies looking dog, does it have its shots? You don't know.
She claimed to have had years and decades of child rearing experience. And you brought a random dog outside next to a kid sleeping. What?
A growly dog.
We know why it is.
Yes.
But in the outer rim or, on the periphery, it's like, what the fuck are you doing, you crazy woman?
So she's trying to make like, well, he'll be a great guard dog for when you're on those long trips. I was like, that sounds threatening.
I love his response. He's like, if I need a dog, I'll pick a dog that I want out. And I was like, you know what? I kind of appreciate this straightforwardness. But then she's like, but Damien's really grown attached to him. And then he's like, well, that changes everything. We're keeping the dog. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
He's like, fuck that kid. Call the RSPCA and get this dog out of here. I was like, tell him.
And the RSPCA is the Royal whatever.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Not
the
American.
ASPCA is us, and
So then Damien goes on a field trip to the zoo.
the most dangerous zoo I've ever. Like, it must be very poorly funded.
Definitely, because they only
Dangerous
have
zoo.
like the weakest of glass.
Yes, that gorilla cracks that glass with like his finger.
No, I think that is reinforced glass, but that gorilla's just like, yo, it's devil time. Like I think he's got to like destroy this evil.
Probably why in real zoos they keep gorillas outside
You wanna
behind
know
a
what?
moat.
That's like when ladies lift up cars to save their babies and shit like that. I think the gorilla had the strength of 10 gorillas.
Yeah. Oh. I think that gorilla was Jesus.
Oh shit!
Now that you told me they fight in the other ones,
Yeah, and
Great ape.
the greatest. So during the field trip, we see that all the other kids are avoiding Damien like the plague. And he's like, they're scared of me. And I thought he was talking about the kids, but he's talking about the monkeys.
yeah.
But also, this Damien does a thing where he whispers everything to mommy. And it's like, dude, just act like a normal kid for like 1 second.
I kind of wish he would have.
It's hard to imagine because, like, in Omen 2 and 3, I know this is a different universe kind of, but he's meant to be like a charming person and end up being like a CEO and the president and then take over the whole world as the Antichrist. This little creeper kid, nobody is going to let any of that happen.
Right. So, yeah, you're correct. The Antichrist has been said that he will be some charismatic character who comes out and gets people to flock to them.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to ask you in the original Omen, does the audience at any point feel any connection to Damien, or do they have any sense of like, oh man, I kind of like this little kid. It sucks he's the Antichrist.
No, he's too young to like feel that way, but
You're not
you don't.
charmed by the kid, but you also don't dislike the kid.
You're not repulsed by the kid. Like
Yeah.
this kid's like you're obviously something is messed up with you. Like
Right.
You wonder, you're like, oh man, what's wrong, little dude? You know, like,
Yeah.
that's how you feel. And then you're like, oh God, dude, you're a fucked up little dude. Like, but that's later.
right when things really start picking up, like last 45
And this one,
minutes.
you're just like straight out like, get the fuck away from me, you little shit.
I wonder why the change. Why they decided to make this Damien so much more obviously evil.
I have a theory on that. And at this point, Damien had become such the cultural relevant, you know, the cultural relevant like thing of, you know, people know like, oh, Damien, the son of the devil. Ooh, that creepy kid from the thing. I think they leaned into that. I don't think that, I don't want to say they didn't think about it, but I don't think they understood the slow nuance of the reveal of the first one as much as like, we've got our creepy little kid, he's the son of the devil, ooh, as opposed to like, you know, this is just a kid and oh my God, you know, the surprise of it. I think it's just because, you know, we all grew up and knew Damien as the son of the devil and evil and scary, and you know, I think they just kind of leaned too hard into that.
All right. So influence from the cultural
Zeitgeist.
knowing about Damien for
Plus,
so long. Okay.
subtlety is dead. So I don't know that he can even do Sly.
Oh yeah, the subtlety is definitely dead because the fucking dream sequence in this movie alone is
Yeah.
just like what the shit. But yeah, let's talk about this Animal House, and not the movie Animal House, but the house that houses animals in this movie.
Animal House.
Damien.
So the monkeys freak the hell out, right? And they
Yeah.
run away. And then one of the big gorillas he like locks eyes with Damien.
Yeah, and he gets hit with the whammy and does not like it, so he charges the glass and starts breaking it and pounding on it. And we don't really see how they get out of there though, because it just cuts.
Well, 'cause every
Yeah.
kid grabs every mother who's there talking because they're like. Also, right before that, like Kate is like, "Hey, thanks for coming to the party. Sorry things got weird," and they're just kind of looking at her like, "You know, someone killed themselves, right?"
Things got weird. Talk about an understatement.
Yeah. But yeah, so they all grab their kids, and then we get this weird camera shot where the mothers are holding their kids, and the camera pans around them in a circle, so we can kind of scan the whole area. But it looks like an action shot from like Bad Boys 2.
Yes.
It's like, what are y'all gonna do?
So that's a question I had for you. Did Damien make the gorilla break out, or was it in reaction to seeing Son of the Devil?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
animals
exactly the
don't
second.
like him.
And I think the giant gorilla just basically is like, I'm gonna protect it. I gotta kill this evil. Like I think he's like, I'm gonna go for it, dog.
And
Hold my beer. I got this.
I wish we could have had some resolution to the scene because
Yeah.
they set it up like, oh, some shit's going to go down. And then it just cuts to them at home. And Kate's like, how was your day? You know?
You didn't tell him about the zoo incident
She
till
didn't bring it
bedtime?
up at
The
all.
OG one, like they cut back to home, and then she's like, "This crazy shit happened at the zoo today."
Yeah, and also they're in a car, so you can imagine. Oh, they just zoomed out,
Yeah.
but here they just cut. It's like a hard cut.
Yeah,
like they were
and-
trapped by raptors, you know?
Yeah,
and she says something effective like, oh, we went on a trip. I need to talk to someone. I need to have therapy. And that's basically how the conversation goes. It's like, okay, you left out the gorilla smashing the glass. You don't leave that out.
Yeah, their marriage is on the rocks, bro. Their communication style, they do not jive. He's switching out kids. She's keeping monkey attacks. These are important things you should be telling each other.
This relationship is built on secrets.
It
This
is.
is also the scene when we get the first dream sequence where Julia Stiles. Why do I keep saying that?
Because it'd be a better movie if she was in it.
Julia Stiles like has like a weird, creepy dream sequence where like she gets these images of Damien being evil, and she's cut her wrist in a bathtub, and she's looking at her kid with a weird mask on, and I mean, there's so many things here that are like.
Then he had vampire teeth.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's all good. It's all good. The dream sequences are not there for anything other than rando jump scares, and they really don't need to be there.
One of my favorite parts of the dream sequences, though, is when she's like brushing her teeth in a foyer.
Oh,
And I'm like, what kind of bathroom is this?
also, did you see how she was brushing her teeth? She was like fucking tonguing her toothbrush, like rubbing it around like it was a cock. It was just like, dude, what are you doing?
That's not how you brush your teeth?
No.
At first, I
don't
didn't.
suck my toothbrush off
Oh.
like fucking cleaning my mouth.
I didn't
Am I
realize
doing
it
it
was a
wrong?
dream until a few moments later. I'm like, what the hell kind of bathroom?
Well, that's the thing
this?
is it's supposed to like you're not supposed to know that,
Right.
but yes, it was so weird. I was like, why are we on a fucking close-up shot of her brushing her teeth? Super weird.
The answer is jump scares. Because I don't think there's any jump scares in the original Omen. So they had to find somewhere to shoehorn them in.
Freak out, like those are quote unquote the jump scares, which are not really jump scares.
Yeah,
They're
not
just
like
more like
this.
intense, scary.
So this is
scenes.
how they modernized it.
Yeah, they added
Just
some jump
stuff like that.
scares.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Kate and Robert go out to a performance of Salome or whatever the hell it was. I just kept saying that and wanted it to be David. What's his name from Tim and
David
Eric.
Liebehart.
Yeah. And they're walking out of the performance, and then they get approached by Priest Brennan, and he tells Robert, hey,
Father Brennan. I'm
sorry.
Put some goddamn respect.
Get
on
it
that.
straight,
Father.
all right? He's
Father
a-
Brennan. He's like, meet me under this bridge at 1:00. Your wife's in great danger. She'll die if you don't show up. And it's like, okay.
The bastard is like, I better tell nobody about this
Yep.
and go.
He's like, I am going to 100% believe this because I think this man's crazy. Like, okay.
The thing is as an ambassador, as a diplomatic official, your entire schedule is laid out. Like they document where you go. Like
Yeah.
this is a thing. But yeah, he's going to go under the bridge and talk to Father Brennan in the world's most isolated, poorly lit rainstorm. This scene looks so great from a distance, and then when you got under the bridge, the way the lightning was flashing and stuff, like you could tell it was just a light just off camera.
There's a man holding a metal sheet going.
But this was actually a really cool scene.
Before we get there, overnight, after
Oh, the
Kate.
sandwich scene.
Yeah, I was going to
Oh,
ask about
yeah.
the sandwich scene. So Kate has that dream we were mentioning. She goes downstairs. She looks around the house. No one's there. The camera turns, but then it turns back, and boom, boom, Damien's there with peanut butter. And I was like, oh, I bet he's a crunchy kid. Fucking son of the devil eating crunchy
You
peanut
don't like
butter.
crunchy?
Peanut's the best.
Yeah, Team Crunch. Oh, it's like Team Crunch
Like,
all the way.
Call me the Antichrist because I love a crunchy peanut butter.
I like it smooth. Okay? Smooth.
That's,
So he's making a sandwich and he's holding a knife.
Yeah.
Which all I could think about was that YouTube video. I was like, what do you have? A knife? No!
Right. So she's like, what are you doing, Damien? What are you doing? He's like looking at her all weird, like slowly
He will
putting the
not
lid
talk
on
to
the
her. Yes.
puts the lid back on the peanut butter.
This chick so hard.
He just wanders back to his room without saying a word with the sandwich. I'm like, okay.
And as a mother, she just goes, oh, well.
Yeah, that was weird. In a different movie, it would have been hilarious if like as he's walking by her, she just palms his face and fucking flings
Knocks
him
him over, grabs a sandwich and
I was
bites out of it and then puts it back down.
She should have taken the sandwich.
Yes.
For a second there, I was like, did he make sandwich for mommy?
Just slaps
He
it out of
walks
his
down, she's
hand.
like, get yourself one, nerd.
Oh, that'd been awesome. But no,
Was this scene in the original?
no,
I think she sees the kid at one point, but I don't think it's the sandwich scene is there.
nothing like this out. Yeah,
okay.
This is all made in 2006. Some guy was at his computer, like, "What is creepy?" Little kid making a sandwich.
You know what happened the other night? I walked into my kitchen. Johnny's in there getting a sandwich. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing up, you little shit? And you know what? Bam, here we go.
So the next
I don't
day-
know why our writers are all suddenly like from South, like the South Bronx and
Yeah,
stuff.
who
They
knows?
always are. Okay?
Okay.
Every writer is from the Bronx.
Yeah, that's a gimme.
And every accent we do of European sounds like a Cockney accent. It always devolves into that.
So Robert goes to meet Father Brennan under the bridge. Red Hot Chili Peppers are playing.
Anthony Kiedis is there.
I think it goes, your boy is the son of the devil. Like once again, he's just leaping right into the fucking meat. There's no dressing with this man.
Well,
Yeah.
he sings the poem again or whatever, the thing. And I was like, oh, we're going to poetry slam under the bridge.
It's not even a hello. How you doing? How's your wife? Nothing.
Your wife's pregnant, and Damien's going to kill the baby and her if you don't kill the boy.
You've got to go to the walled city of Mishimoto and find Bagul, and he's going to tell you.
That would be great.
Maga.
Bagadon, or whatever his name
A
is.
bag of dongs, and he's going to tell you.
It's Bugenhagen, which sounds fucking made up.
Also, I can't wait to talk about Bugenhagen because when they first walk in, he's like, "Is Brennan dead?"
Yeah.
No, it's like, whoa. This scene with Father Brennan under the bridge really upset me in the remake because this is such an important, crazy, intense scene. You find out that Kate is pregnant, biologically pregnant, which should not have been able to happen. And Robert is just kind of like, you don't say. And I'm like, dude, you need to be freaking the fuck out
again
about that aspect.
Well, I don't think he believes her because he doesn't know yet.
I know, but even then, like, how does this dude know something like this? Like, he seems confident. Like, you should be like, whoa, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, even if he doesn't believe the information, he should like kind of recoil and act like, what the fuck, dude?
How do you know about my wife's area?
Okay.
Again, that's where the wooden performance of Liv Schreiber.
What have you two been up to when I'm not at home?
Binoculars, bro. He's been watching the Ambassador all day.
Look, they're never hanging out together. That means it's someone else's baby, most likely.
Well, honestly, that is the most believable because how does he not know? Like what when are they banging? That's what I want to know. Fill me in. Maybe it's in a novelization.
Maybe it was in the intermission of Salome.
Oh, okay. Quickie in the bathroom.
So anyway, Brennan basically is like, your wife's pregnant, and Damien is going to try to kill that kid because there can be no others. There can be only one. Damien's a Highlander.
He's like,
okay.
First he's going to kill your kid, then he's going to kill your wife, then he's going to wait, and then he's going to kill you. Yeah. So just know this. And the ambassador's just like, all right. I don't know why I came here, but...
He's like, you're full of crap and stay away from me forever.
Yes.
And leaves.
And later on, Keith, the photographer, was like, I saw you under the bridge with Father Brennan. It's like, what are you doing with your time?
Obviously, he's stalking the ambassador.
Clearly.
TMZ.
Yeah.
He's the fucking paparazzi, man.
But after Robert runs away from under the bridge, you see a red kind of cloaked figure run across in the storm, run down the street. And the wind starts howling and growling. And it's really subtle, but I love this effect.
I don't think it was subtle at all. I was like, oh, the sounds of hell are coming for the priest.
Okay, well, like for me, it's just like it plays really well. Like it could be wind, it could be the growl, but you can tell that it is.
At first, but then it's very clear.
Oh, no, it builds up for sure. But at first, when the thing first runs, it's like, it's like, whoa, what the fuck was that? But yeah, so Father Brennan's running down the street in the rain, trying to get to church.
He's running down, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, movie house. Yeah, so he's on his way. The wind's blowing his hat off. He's trying to get to the church. The gate's locked. He climbs over the fence, and I was like, oh, this is where he gets impaled on the fence.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get death by fence, too.
No, we get the most 2006 kill possible. The CG in this thing was atrocious. Brennan runs up to the door of the church, and as he's about to open it, it slams shut from the inside.
Demonically closes.
Which does that mean that Damien has power inside the church? Because that should defeat the whole purpose of seeking sanctuary.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, why is this happening?
That kind of bugged me out. I was like, oh, you shouldn't have any power inside. Like, something should have been borrowing it from the front.
It's like every change that they make in this movie seemingly is worse because they solved this problem in the original Omen by the door just being locked.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
There's no supernatural element to it. It just is.
I mean, yeah, and Death from Final Destination comes back in this scene.
Yes.
Yeah. He looks up and there's a huge, giant stained glass window precariously laying against the edge of the roof of this church, which the moment a storm started, there would have been priests up there like, bring that shit inside. That
no,
is
I think it was a lightning rod.
No, the lightning rod fell through the stained glass window.
Oh, you're talking about the window. Yeah.
They would have gone up and moved that shit inside because it was not
Yes.
installed yet. They were installing it. But like the moment the wind started getting bad, they would have like, get it inside. Millions of dollars, if not, for that thing.
Yeah, good point.
So the lightning rod on top of the building gets struck. It melts and falls over, shoots its way like a javelin straight down through the stained glass window. And then the glass and the javelin crash into Father Brennan. Now, don't get me wrong, this kill looked amazing.
It was a great kill. Impaling him standing up,
Yeah.
pieces of glass in his face. You're like, oh.
Yeah, the CG was a little rough, but honestly, I liked it. I mean,
At the time, I let that go.
Yeah, it
but
was fine.
It was just more the Rube Goldberg aspect of it. It's like, oh, it's got to go through a stained glass. Like, just stab him. Just impale him with the lightning rod.
This is the best kill of the movie, in my opinion.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
it's part of it. They're just trying to make everything a little more. It's add a little bit extra because in the original there was no stained glass, so let's add some glass to them. All right, you know.
So we cut to Damien playing PlayStation 2 with the fakest video game sounds I could ever imagine.
I thought it was a GameCube controller.
It looked like a PlayStation.
Okay.
I have a note here that says, Mark, what video game was he playing?
It was not a video game. You
It
know,
had like Mario ring, like Sonic ring sounds.
do you
It
remember
had,
the
like-
little noise makers we would have in the 80s that would make the sound of the falling bomb?
No.
You push like a button.
Yeah.
It had like 5 sounds on it. You
It'd have
push
like
it
a
and make
machine
noise.
gun sound. It would have a ray gun sound. It's basically that. It
It
was
was early 90s, but
My
yes.
parents probably were like, do not get our child this noise making device because I've never heard of this before.
The point is there's no way this was a video game making actual video game sounds. It was too cheap. It's like, come on, dude. That's like placeholder noises.
It's like someone off camera. Choo, 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 choo.
Yeah.
At this point, Kate's like rubbing her head. She's like, get this fucking kid out of here. I can't stand the noise. She's like, Baylock, come get this kid. And then Robert walks in and he's like, he's just playing video games, honey. And she's like, I don't care. I want him out.
Never want to see him again.
And it's like, yo, this is going to fuck this kid up. I
This
mean,
could have
but again,
been solved with a remote control. Just turn the volume down.
honey, put your headphones on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the OG one, he's like banging on something, so it makes a little more sense.
Yes, he's
but
being an annoying child.
yeah, here it's exactly it. Just mute the TV, lady. You have a remote, you're grown up, but no, instead she freaks out.
So Baylock comes and gets the kid, and then Robert's like, Kate, you got to calm the fuck down. And she's like, I can't. I'm pregnant. I'm getting an abortion. And you're
Yeah.
like, damn, she is just going hard. And she's like, I don't want another fucking kid. And again, I kind of understand her take of like, if this is what motherhood is like, I'm out. you know?
I'm 0 for 1 right now.
I don't have
want
a partner to help me. I fucking can't stand kids. I'm done with this
I already
shit.
got one son of Satan. I don't need daughter of Satan too.
That's the sequel name, Daughter
Yes.
of Satan 2.
He's and strike 2 for husbanding. Don't tell your wife to calm down. Dude, bro,
Wrong.
that
Not
is
during an abortion conversation,
No.
whatever you do.
just amateur hour left and right.
And one thing I want to point out is the next day's newspaper on the website has the corpse. As someone who worked in the news, I can tell you that you don't use dead body photos or footage in your
I
movie,
asked
your
my
reels.
roommate, I was like, maybe it's different in Britain, but I doubt you put the corpse on the cover of the newspaper.
Front page. Like
Can you imagine if that's what the news was like? It's everywhere. Dead bodies everywhere. Every car crash, on the nightly news, we'd be like just pummeled with death.
there wasn't even any police. They must have got, they must have got there before the police and everything.
He
Taking a
did
photo.
say, he's like, you were the last person to meet with Brennan. Did you see what happened? Because he's the one who took that picture.
Oh.
So
Right.
Keith was the one
He
who
took
was
his
like,
photo first, then called the police.
He's like, ooh, got to get this shot. But yes, Kate is like, I'm having this baby abortion. I'm out later. Deuces.
And I want you to go see my therapist. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, you heard me.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
So he does. He goes to the therapist and he's like, turns out your wife thinks your boy is the son of Satan.
And he's like, wait, did she say that exactly?
And he's like, do you believe in God? He's like, that's neither here nor there. Your wife is really disturbed, sir.
Tell me again about Satan. Like,
And as he is at the therapist, Kate decides that she needs to water the tallest hung plant on the 3rd floor of their balcony area on a rickety chair with a giant water bottle.
If you have Buckingham Palace money, you have people to do this for you.
yeah, another change. In the original, they fire those people. They just disappear. So there are other help, and eventually the Gregory
It's
Peck.
alluded that Baylock like got them out of there.
Yeah,
kind of.
Gregory Peck's like, hey, have you seen, Rob and Tina? And she's like, oh yeah, they just left. They're gone. I don't know. They took their paycheck and dipped.
Yeah, Baylock is running some game behind the scenes.
They don't bring it up in this one because, yes, it makes no sense why she would be doing this. Also, lady, get a step stool. What are you doing? Even if the kid didn't bang you, you look like you were about.
Whoa. Let's take that back and take a take 2.
Even if the kid didn't bang into you, you look like you were gonna fall anyway.
Oh, yeah. She was teetering on the edge
Yeah.
of pain to begin with.
Yeah.
And then Ms. Baylock's over here, like, fanning him with palm trees, feeding him strawberries. Like what?
I thought it was meat at first. I was like, "Oh, she's feeding him animal meat.
it
That's
should be raw
crazy."
meat. That would have been better.
Yeah,
This
this
was on
was
his face. It's dripping down his mouth, and I was like, "He's gone full feral." 'Cause
So
his mother was a
weird.
jackal.
Yeah.
yeah, it was so weird. This scene not in the original,
No.
where she's just like staring into his eyes, and I was like, this seems wildly inappropriate.
It's this weird, like almost incestuous kind of like, "Yes, master," and you're like, "I get what's going on here, but this is awkward."
And then they look and glare at a Razor scooter for like 10 minutes.
yeah,
Which was so funny because like it's like it has to be done. And then we cut to this scene was bizarre because they used Dutch angles. They used wide shots, low shots, medium shots. Like
It felt
zoom
like they were
shots.
trying to do the scene from The
Shining.
Shining.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it's very much what it felt like. POV, of
Too
like
much.
scooter thing. It was like they were like, "Get them all in now." The DP was just like, "I'm on it," like checklist time.
They like film it like the Razor scooter's going 70 miles an hour, just, burning rubber around the
You
corners.
pan
and
up,
shit.
it's fucking Vin Diesel. It's family. You got to take them out early. So
smoke's coming from the wheels.
Yeah.
So, he's zipping around and he knocks into Kate's chair. She goes right over the edge. The pot falls with the plant, smashes on the ground, foreshadowing. And then you look back up and, oh man, she's hanging on the edge with her fingers. And she's like, "Damien, help me. What the fuck is this kid going to do?"
Yeah,
He
you're
could have reached out. Anything, any reaction would be better than nothing.
true.
The thing is, that's the whole point, though, is he
I
looks
know.
at her like, "Bye, Clarice."
But also, he's 20 pounds. She's a full-grown adult. All that would have happened is they're both going over the fucking edge.
Well,
Well, he
he's
could have
too-
grabbed her
he's too-
from the railing, from between the railing. That might have helped.
Yeah, he's too thick to go through the railing. She just grabbed on that kid and used him as an anchor.
Pretty
She
much.
doesn't care about him, obviously. But anyway, so she
He's
starts
just like
to.
pressed up against it.
She's hanging there with her tippy fingers, like holding her on the edge of this thing. It is a far, far drop, and
It's quite a spill.
Tweety
Yeah.
Bird comes out and starts pecking at her fingers. No, she basically starts to slip and she falls. And this CG fall is so hilarious to me. Oh my God. It's just like, ah! I was like, all right, cut. Let's just show her on the ground. But she hits. And then we cut to Robert going to the hospital. Like, he looks at his wife, who's like fully casts up.
Yes, it was like she.
And he starts crying, which I was like, this is the first moment I actually felt like he cared about his wife.
Yeah, it's true.
We're like, what, 60 minutes into the movie at this point, too? I'm like, I should have cared a little bit sooner.
And then he goes to see Dr. Bad News, who's like,
Well, no. First, he walks up to her and she goes, "Don't let him kill me."
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because Kate is like on board with like, "Get this fucker out of my," like, he's gone. He's call the RSPCA.
Get him
Go pick
out of
this
there.
Kid up.
So he's had a dire warning from a priest. His wife says, "Don't let him kill me."
yeah.
And now he's just going to go wander off and leave her alone.
Yeah.
Bro.
Well, he just found out that his baby didn't make it through.
Oh yes, they find out because of the fall, the baby didn't make it through.
like the worst news ever. They're like, internal. Oh yeah, your wife has internal bleedings. He's like, oh, she's pregnant.
No.
No. Like what?
No, the doctor goes, "You would think."
Yeah.
Funny story. Turns out she's not anymore.
This is the Mabel I says.
Like, damn, doc.
His bedside manner.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you bring that up? Just pull the Band-Aid off.
Or,
I
like,
get it. I get it.
I'm sorry. Would have got the same message
True,
across
true.
and a little
I'm
more
sorry, might be
empathetic.
a decent lead.
He was just like, nope.
So at this point, he's like, "I've lost 2 babies, almost a wife, and I don't care about my kid. I'm going to go see this fucking photographer."
Again, he's still way too put together for all the trauma he's going through right now. He gets notified from the photographer, "Hey, I need you to come look at something," right? And then Robert shows up to the photographer's house. He's showing him all the photos that we talked about that show the ethereal nooses and
This
the
diplomat's
spikes.
got a lot of spare time.
Yeah, he's got nothing else to do.
I
He's
mean-
an ambassador. What did they
Yeah.
really do?
In a little bit, he's about to go into some like contested territory in Israel, as if the U.S. ambassador can just go to like
There's no red tape
military.
there.
Yeah. Anyway,
So as they're looking over the photos of Father Brennan, he's like, "Hey, check this out. Also, has 666 on his leg." He's like, "Is it a tattoo?" He's like, "Nah, dog. That's a birthmark."
So talking about Brennan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Father Brennan. How do they get the information that leads them to Father Brennan's room? Like, how do they find that weird shack under the...
So I actually can answer this.
Okay.
So he's basically showing, he's like, "Look, we got to do something about this." And he's like, "Don't you worry about it. I'll take care of it. This is my family." He's like, "Actually, check out this picture where there's a white light thing around my neck. I'm pretty sure I'm involved now, bro. I'm helping you out." Because he basically says, after he got killed, I went and investigated Brennan. So Keith went and investigated and found his apartment. So after they meet, that's when they go to the apartment.
So he already knew where it was.
Yes, he knew where it was.
Okay.
He's like, you got to come see this, because he literally says, I got to show you something. And then he goes in and he's like, they open the door to Brennan's apartment, which is like all the Bible pages.
Yeah.
It's like basically what's his face's room from Seven.
Yes,
You know, it's fucked up. And he's like, oh my God, okay, this is some real shit. Brennan told me to go see Bagadan out in Hoshvio.
Bugenhagen.
And he's like, I got this. And he's like, I'll go with you. And he's like, no, you stay here. I got this. He's like, actually, I'm involved. Check this out. My head's going to get lopped off. And he's like, all right, let's go then. And then we cut to them driving out to what seems like the middle of the country. And they stop at this nice little like pop-up neon signed like bistro.
The cutest little food truck. I was like, what is this?
It felt so awkward, and like everything we'd seen up to this point, I was like, what is this nice little quaint thing?
And to Mark's point, like the movie's so blue, and then the thing is just like out of Willy Wonka. Like it is incredible. It's very colorful.
Because they're going to the hospital.
And those cups were clearly empty. There was no liquid in those cups.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Yeah, when you see the actors get it together, all right, they're just like waving around.
A little bit of weight there, yeah. But so they're actually going to the hospital where the baby was swapped, and they're going to get some information from the priest and everything like that. So that they get there, and they're like, whoa. This is not the right place. And then it's like they're talking, Italian back and forth, and he's like, oh, no, morte. And it's like, oh, there were many dead. There was a huge fire here. The old hospital burned down. That's why this is a new building and is not the hospital.
And my favorite part of the movie, they just randomly find a burnt nun on the street selling crucifixes and religious accoutrements.
Yeah, they're like,
Well,
you
where was
look.
she supposed to go after the thing burned down?
No, this happens on there to give our characters more plot.
She looks like Two-Face. I mean, it's like she is burned.
Yeah, they're like, you look like you've been in a hospital fire. Can we ask you some questions?
she's just like, I don't want to talk about it. But then she immediately starts talking about it. And they're like, where's Priest, Giuseppe? I don't know what is his name.
Well, they're like, you're going to want to go see Voldemort, all right?
No, hold on. We'll get to Voldemort. But like, they basically say his name, and she like starts cringing. She's like, oh boy, that guy. Yeah. He's in a monastery in
somewhere.
place.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I guess we're going to a monastery in some place. And then we cut to the most beautiful shot in the whole movie, which is this priest like rowing them across this perfectly still reflective like lake thing towards this little island.
I looked up from my notes and I'm like, what the hell's happening now? They're taking a boat ride?
It was like Resident Evil 4 intro type thing.
Like this 2006, not 1906. All right, they're not rowing people across a fucking lake.
This was beautiful though. This whole scene was so fucking gorgeous. Like it was shot well. I mean, it was just color corrected nicely, like some whites and some blues. It was really good.
I mean, to the right, there's just a bridge they could have walked across.
Well,
probably.
They keep all their burnt priests on an island, okay? They're all stored in one spot.
The island of burnt priests, of course.
Yeah.
So the priest who originally saw the three comets at the very beginning from the satellite or from the telescope is like, oh no, I know who you guys are. Come on in. And then they go and they're like, we want to talk to, I want to talk to Francis. And like, Francis is busy doing what? He's having his bath. Oh really? Where are they hosing him down? But they eventually show the priest to him, and he pulls his hood back, and he looks like, as you said, Voldemort.
Yeah.
But no, he doesn't look like Voldemort. He looks like the guy from the movie Hannibal. He's like, Verdell, get me a cookie. Like, he is fucked. Like, it is crazy how messed up this dude is. And I guess it's just from the fire, right?
He's so burned up he can't even speak.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But luckily, he has a chalkboard.
And it's some charcoal.
Yeah, that's your charcoal board, I guess.
There you go.
And like one of the monks or whatever is like, hey, leave him alone. He's tired. He can't talk right now. He's a busy guy. You know what I mean? And
see, I took it as like, don't fucking say anything. But I don't know. I would think I was reading too much into it at that point.
But Robert's like, you confess to them, now you confess to me.
And
I love that line. He said it if he was going to beat this priest up. And I was like, you're not doing shit, bro.
And then the bell chimes in the chapel. Well, they all look.
The bell tolls for thee.
It's true. But then off screen, we got some timpani players playing some drums to really give it some energy.
Dun, dun, dun.
More or less. And the old burnt priest goes, give me my charcoal.
Yeah.
And he scribbles down the word Cevertri, which is a cemetery north of Rome.
I guess.
So they're like, next piece in the puzzle. Let's go, photographer boy. And they drive out to this cemetery.
And they traverse like Europe in seconds. Like they're from here to there instantly. But yes, this is the cemetery scene from the first one. And I love this scene.
It is awesome, but it also feels like they drove not only from Rome to this place, but through time to get to the past because this cemetery is very dated.
You know what we needed? We needed the Indiana Jones plane map to show them travel across
That
the
would be
world.
great. I would love that.
Awesome.
With the dun dun dun. I want that to play too.
That would be perfect. Well, they hop the fence, or it's like a wall, actually.
Yeah.
They hop the wall into the cemetery, and they're looking around, and Keith...
But who hasn't hopped a wall into a cemetery? We've all done that.
Yeah, man,
You all got to do it at least once.
Wait the day.
especially if you're the U.S. ambassador.
Yeah. So Keith is looking around, and he's like, hey, this one has the date from when your kid was born. Let's check it out. And they dust it off, and they're like, caramba, it's the mother.
Yes, it's the mother's name.
And they're like, what is this little tiny tomb right next to the mother?
And he goes,
That's
oh
sus.
boy.
Yeah.
He kind of knows what's up. So he's like, all right, let's see what this mother's all about. Like, I don't know what he expected to find. It's going to be a corpse.
Yeah, but it wasn't though. It was a jackal. Because it was a corpse of a jackal.
Corpse of a jackal. And then
Yeah.
and then Keith's like, what is this? It's some kind of, I don't know, a dog. And he's like, it's a jackal. And it's like, aha, Jacques.
Yeah. Well, look, this guy doesn't know a jackal.
Yeah. He's like, they said his mother was a jackal. And he's like, oh my God. Well, that could mean, he's like, if there's a chance that my baby's still alive. And I was like, bro, if you dig up the tiny little
Yeah.
grave next to it, there's no way anything's going to be alive.
Well,
And
he
I know
thought
that's
it
not
was
what
going to be empty. He thought it was going to be a
Yes.
placeholder grave or
I
something.
know, but I was like, this is Schrodinger's grave at this point. Like right now, your baby is alive. The moment you open that grave, your baby is either alive or dead.
I like the idea that he thought a live baby was gonna. It's been waiting for 5 years,
I don't know
bro.
why my brain thought that was what he thought for a moment, but I was like, that's dumb.
It'd have been awesome though.
But
So
they
they-
open it up, and sure enough, there's a tiny skeleton in there with some serious head force trauma.
Yeah.
Why did they do to that baby? There's so many ways to kill without just bludgeoning him in the head with a hammer.
You got to just bash that skull in.
Bro, they're literally the devil. So
Good point. Okay. It was a little shocking, but not really.
Yeah.
You know,
I bet it was very, very shocking in 1976. But
Well, and that just goes to like who at the hospital like decided to do this. You know, like
I think a lot of people are in on it.
so you think there's people like there's sleeper agents in the Vatican who are trying to bring about the Antichrist.
Big time. And then they definitely build on that in the sequels and to the mainline
okay.
movie. But yeah, they have agents everywhere.
and I guess this is where Robert finally accepts that Damien's a plant.
Well, you would think, but not quite. He's almost there.
He's getting close. It takes a lot to move him.
He goes to see Billabong.
Before they leave,
Oh, right, the dog fight.
yeah, out of nowhere, because
Baja men show up.
the nicest junkyard dogs that exist wait for the the vandals to come in and do their vandaling.
Yeah.
Once we got all the plot information out of the way, now the dogs are ready to attack.
Hey, Chet, should we do something? Give him a minute.
They get chased out and get attacked by dogs, but no real damage is actually done. They just
No.
kind of bite him in the shirt.
They get attacked by dogs. One of them's on top of him, like biting down, and then the dude like hits him with a brick, knocks the dog off. Then he like grabs like a steel like cross thing and runs up and golf swings the other dog off of Keith. And they're fucking these dogs up. Now, I do appreciate this movie because there is serious animal violence in this, but most of it is off screen.
Yeah.
Like you see it just out of frame. Like you can piece it together really easy, but you don't actually see like the hit and the impact. But yeah, they're beating the shit out of these dogs. They're running away. They're getting over the fence. And as they're getting over, Keith gets his pants stuck on the gate and he's like trying to help him off. And then Robert's arm is getting bitten by a dog. Like just full on, like a huge dog is just wailing into his arm. They finally break free and they go off. But man, it was a super intense scene. And the original is like a pretty intense scene, but it's like a little bit slower.
But they walk away fine. Like,
Yeah, there's no
real
long-term
damage from the dogs.
Dogs, bro. They're not fighting gorillas.
Yeah.
True.
That would have been a different awesome movie. Gorillas just come out of the trees.
Snapping off thumbs.
Cemetery gorillas, you don't know? That's
New to me.
That's what they use in Italy to protect their
Oh.
cemeteries. Just gorillas everywhere.
Now,
They do a lot of the hand gestures as they come
yes.
at.
Give me a banana.
As this is playing out, we cut back to the hospital where the nanny and Damien show up to say hello to their mother. And
They
she's
say
like,
hello, goodbye.
And she's like, like, hey, we brought these flowers for the mom. And they're like, you really shouldn't see the mom right now. She's going to sleep. And they're like, no. He'd be heartbroken. And she's like, he shouldn't see his mom in this condition. And she's like, well, at least let me go in and give the flowers. Sure enough, she gets to go in. Baylock goes inside and injects a giant air bubble into the blood that's being pumped into the mother. And guess what? She's going to kill her.
Prophecy come true. By Kate.
That's true.
is dead.
Damien's also given the guard the whammy eye.
I thought the guard was going to shoot himself in
I-
this one. I was like, wow, he's going to make him commit suicide in the hospital. I was like, well, that's going to blow your cover, bro.
Yeah, I thought that too, but he just sort of looked like a stomach problem.
He was freaked out. He was picking up real negative energy off of Damien, which I guess you would as the son of the devil. You just give off a real weird vibe.
Yeah, bad vibes.
Robert gets a phone call. He's like, hey, your wife's dead. And he's like, huh?
I just talked to her. She's at the hospital, bro.
So weird. But at this point, are they about to find Bugenhagen?
Yeah, the next scene is there.
The thing is, Roberts at this point is like, okay, everything finally fits. We got to go talk to Bugenhagen because that's what Brennan told me to do, and we might as well.
So off they go to Israel now. To your point, we needed that map, but so we see them.
I didn't know where they were at this point. I was like, this looks like maybe like Israeli police.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not positive because I didn't recognize the flag at first. And
They didn't do a good job of, I guess, because if they did, you would have seen how ridiculous their travel is. UK, Italy, Israel, back to
also,
UK
when they
in
get
one
to
day.
Israel, there are Israeli flags everywhere, and it was like, we get it. Like, if you don't know the flag, you're not going to get it. But like at one point, they're like, we really want you to know where we are.
Yeah. So they go and we get to meet our favorite character.
They find Bugenhagen's little shack tomb thing. and
I
they-
like the set. I think it was a very nice set.
I like how all the statues are wrapped in plastic too to keep them like, intact and stuff.
Fresh.
But they walk in and the first thing, he doesn't even look up from his work. He goes, is that old bastard Brennan dead? And they're like, yeah. He's like, about time. Come on in. Welcome. I'm Bugenhagen.
We have work to do.
Yeah. Also, fuck Brennan.
Well, during this whole this interplay right now, we basically realize that you have to kill the son of the devil with ceremonial knives. You have to do it in a certain order, a certain amount of times. And as they're talking, you realize that Brennan, and maybe this was introduced earlier, or maybe it's now, but Brennan was like riddled with cancer. He knew he was dying. And that's why he said he wanted to be forgiven before he met his maker.
Yeah, Keith told that to the ambassador.
Which I was like, did Brennan actually unleash the son of the Satan, or like the son of the Satan? Was he part of this?
He had the
or?
666, so it makes me think
was involved.
He was,
Okay,
yeah.
so he was like, I'm changing my mind.
Exactly.
He had a remorse.
Bro, don't fuck with shit you're not prepared to fuck with.
Yeah.
But Bugenhagen says something effective like, we got one knife to kill the boy, and then we've got all these other knives to kill the spirit.
Right. If you only get him once, his spirit can come back and do Antichrist shit somewhere else.
So this would end the Antichrist for good?
And it has to be on consecrated ground on the altar of a church.
Okay.
And there'd be no more Antichrist. Just got to stab him.
Until the things come back in the sky, I think, like 1,000 years or something like that.
All right. So they're like, okay, we got to go kill the boy. And then they're like, and the nanny's actually an apostate from hell.
Yeah,
I'm
by
like,
the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for her. And all those dogs, also evil.
And then out of nowhere, Robert's like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
That's my son.
I can't kill my boy.
It's a baby you're talking about.
He's like, this is preposterous. You're all crazy. And he like runs out.
Yeah.
And then Keith is like, bro, what did you think we were going to do here? He's like, I can't do it. This is nuts. And he like throws the knives on the ground. And Keith's like, fine, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it. And I was
Well,
like,
they
oh.
leave because as they run out, because Robert runs out, doesn't take the knives. And then Keith like looks at Bugenhagen. He's like, give me those knives, and then chase them. And then they had that like kind of like contemplate like you got to do this. He's like, I can't. And it's like all I could think of was the Godfather. I was like, look how they massacred my boy.
But it's like, dude, you
traveled to multiple countries
Yes.
for this. You know what you were getting into.
Right.
Keith is so right. What did he think Bugenhagen was going to say? Like, it's fine. Just wait
Robert's-
till him die of natural causes.
Robert's the kind of guy who shows up at the orgy and is like, whoa, I got to take my pants off. It's like, what did you think you were going to do here, bro?
Yeah, man.
It's
what?
such a weird turn for this late in the movie. You know what I mean?
It's supposed to basically give you pause. Like, he can't kill a kid. Like, how crazy is it you're going to kill a kid over this prophecy? Like,
But he's been going through the motions
Yeah.
for half the movie now.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So
Dude, you just came to Israel. Like, you're bought in. You're killing the kid. But no, it needs one more thing to happen.
so he throws the ceremonial knives, and Keith is like, well, fuck that noise. I'll do it myself.
I'll
then."
go murder your boy. I was like, I thought we get a little more out of that. Like, you're not killing my boy. You know, something, nothing.
That's pretty close to the original.
Yeah,
too.
there's only like 20 minutes of movie left, so they're
sure,
going to
I
need
get it. I get
So
it.
Keith bends down to pick up the knives, and as he does, a roofer,
Yeah, more
knocks
Final
a hammer
Destination.
off of the roof. It hits the sign swings down, decapitates Keith. Very cool decapitation.
Yeah.
pretty gruesome. And then Robert runs back and he's like, oh my God, he got decapitated just like in the pictures. And it's like this, everything starts shaking. And it's supposed to be like this whole like the prophecy's coming true. This is reality.
Or the director's going, do you get it?
Yeah, I really think that's it, man. Because like it's such a close up on his face, and to me it felt like the director tripped.
But regardless, you cut to Robert on the plane and he's got the bag of knives, and you're like, oh shit, he's going through it. He's finally committed to doing something with his life.
Bugenhagen also tells him, you will know he's the Antichrist because of 666.
He's got the mark. And then Robert goes, I've washed that boy.
I know every ounce and inch of his skin. I was like, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah. He's like, have you checked under his scalp, his hair? It's like, oh, fuck, I didn't look there.
He doesn't even say that. He goes, well, if it's not on his body, it's under his hair then. And it's like, you feel very confident on this, bro. But yeah, so Robert goes home, takes the red eye back, sneaks into his kid's room, misses the devil hounds, sneaks in with a little pair of scissors and just snip, 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 gonna give him a little trim, and then sees the 666 mark under the hair on the scalp.
My God.
My God.
All nines.
So close.
999. I think we're good here.
Whew.
Baylock runs in, jumps on his back like a fucking hobbit, and is just like whacking him in the head like, you're gonna die. And then he knocks her. Damien wakes up, starts screaming. Mm-hmm. It's chaos at this point. He knocks her to the ground. He runs over, grabs Damien, picks him up like a sack of potatoes, and just starts walking out. Baylock goes to grab his leg. He just boots her in the face. I was like, damn, son, I get it. Then he starts getting chased by a dog. He ends up like lifting up a trap door, knocking the dog out like a raptor, putting it in a hole.
Yeah.
Runs outside to the car, gets in the Mercedes, and Damien's kicking and screaming. And he knows. He's like, oh no.
And Baylock's coming after him with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Gabriel was like, yo, you know what to do, my dude. I've made so many old music references in this episode so far. I'm sorry. But yeah, so Baylock is like sledgehammering the window, the glass in the front window, and then he peels out. He does like a little like Fast and Furious spin around the driveway.
Runs her over at like 80.
Good.
She flips like it looks like a comedy. It looks like a Dude's Where's My Car type hit.
Yeah.
It's so hilarious. She just flips right over. She's down.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she's dead.
Yeah.
And then he bashes through his own gate, and I guess there was a cop just chilling.
Yeah. This was his,
because you're an ambassador.
what the fuck has the security been doing up till now?
Chilling.
Yeah, not accomplishing shit.
He's the one that got Kate pregnant.
Rule number 1, one crime at a time. So once he's killed Baylock, slow down, because this is what fucks him up. Speeding. It always gets you.
So not only is he being chased by one motorcycle police, he's now being chased of all of London's police force.
Yeah, they call him the SWAT team. Helicopters are coming.
This was crazy to me because they're like, yeah, he's in a white Mercedes going down the street, and it's like, we'll send in everything. It reminded me of that scene from The Professionals, like, send in everybody. I was like, dude, calm down.
You think they run the plate and be like, oh, that's the U.S. ambassador.
They don't know he has a kid in the car. They just think he's just driving really
Speeding,
fast.
yeah. They act like he's John Wick.
It truthfully doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
To be honest,
it's the weirdest thing because then the other one, the cop who like is like catching on, like when he first like, hey, he busted the gate. There's a police officer on the force is like, oh man, let's go get him. And so at the end of the OG one, it's just that detective,
just one cop, yeah,
and the security guard from the gate walk into the church.
But now it's the 2000s, and we need to amp it up.
Smoke, and they're in black gear, and they got red laser sights, and they're like, drop it.
Called in the army. Like, what is happening?
For a speeder.
Yeah, a tank breaks in.
On the airstrike.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, Robert's got Damien on the altar of this church, and he has got the knife in the air, and he's ready to drop the hammer.
Oh, but Damien does try his last play.
Yep.
Don't do it, Daddy.
I love you, Papa.
It's like, shut up, kid. I'm stabbing you.
No, some real Evil Dead shit, Deadite stuff.
Yes.
Pretending to
He
be.
should have done the dad from Arrested Development. That's my wife.
So he does. It does cause him to pause long enough. Bam! Shot.
Yeah, and you
One,
like,
he gets shot a lot.
Well, that's true. I was thinking the OG.
the OG one, there's one shot and it takes him down. And this one, the SWAT team just opens up.
They're like,
just lay waste to the whole front end of this church with bullets.
They killed him, the kid, some guys on the street.
Fumes.
Yeah.
There's some nice imagery of like blood dripping off the Jesus cross crucifix statue and stuff.
Yeah.
Jesus riddled with bullets.
Well, the thing is, the OG one though, the shot goes, it's a white like muzzle flare, and then it cuts away. You don't know that he got killed. You don't know if he succeeded or not.
True.
And this one, you see the blood splatter on the thing, and you're like, oh, he got shot. So I like the original one a little better because it's like ambiguous, like, oh my God, oh my God, did he do it? Did he do it? And then we cut straight to the cemetery graveyard scene.
That was in the original. The shooting was the ending, and the studio was like, "You're gonna need to add more shit here for the audience."
Yeah,
so it could have just ended, bam, with just the white flash to white.
I know most audiences want resolution, but the thing is, that's resolution enough because we know what had to happen.
Yeah,
I love the fact is like, is the son of Satan still alive? Only you can tell. Come back next summer for
Omen 2.
Would have been a great ending, but they added the cemetery bit, which they also did in the remake.
Well, let's just take it from face value if the public media, what had happened tonight. Oh, an U.S. ambassador killed the nanny, tried to murder his son in a church. Do you really think he's getting a 21-gun salute?
With the president there?
Hell no.
No.
That's his godson, though, you guys, because as we all know, presidents are more than happy to go to questionable events to basically show their face if they don't know how they're going to play out in the public eye.
Robert would be remembered as a crazed murderer.
Yeah, the ambassador who went mad. He'd have a Netflix series like...
So that just didn't link up right. I was like, no, he's not getting this.
Yeah, you know what? That's a plot hole in the original, too, because it makes no more sense than either.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit different in the fact that, so they do the cemetery thing, and you see the two graves, the two caskets, and they've got American flags on it. It's supposed to be Kate and Robert, which, again, the pomp and circumstance for people who tried to kill their kid, not great. You never see the president's face in either one.
Yeah.
And someone walks up and is like, President, your car is waiting. Oh, that's the OG one. He's like, President, your car is waiting and ready to go. And then the new one, I think they're like, hey, is everything okay? And he's like, everything will be fine. And we pan down, and then we see that he's holding the hand of Damien, and they're going to take the son of Satan back to him. Because earlier in the movie, Keith and Robert are like going through the poem, and it's like, oh, the seas will rise. And it's like, that's politics, the rough seas of politics.
Yeah.
And so basically they're like, the Antichrist will rise from the political spectrum.
The most believable part of this movie is people taking sentences that make no sense and being like, this is what it is.
Assigning
it's definitely,
meaning to them,
politics.
That was a huge leap. I was like, there's no fucking way that some bullshit written about the seas would make you think politics in 2006.
That's the kind of leap they make. When I was a kid, I was really into Nostradamus. And I read all the books and all this shit. And that's exactly what he'd be. He'd be like, the sky will go dark. And he'd be like, nah, that's the plague.
Rome and stuff like that. So the thing is the politics of Rome, because that's where democracy started and shit like that. So it's not a far leap to see them apply that to even back then. Now the thing is, we see it from a modern day politics perspective, and in this movie does the same thing. But back in the day when they were assigning that stuff to politics, they were talking about like the Roman Empire and all that shit.
Yeah.
They were the fucking bad ones. I mean, they killed Jesus. I mean, so.
But the guy who wrote the prophecy had to write it in such a way that would still be interpreted the same way by different people thousands of years later.
In English versus whatever language. Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay.
The guy was good.
The vagaries, but
we show the Pope die and drop his wine glass.
Oh yeah, none of that's in the original either, right? Yeah. So then it cuts back to the Vatican where the
messenger boy comes in.
He's like,
just basically, we lost.
Pope's like, that's my cue. Dies.
Yep. And then spills his wine, and that's when we cut back to the president holding Damien's hand, and then Damien looks back over his shoulder,
gives him a little smirk,
and gives him a little smirk, like, "Haha, got you, you sons of bitches."
Evil wins
again.
Doesn't die tonight.
Because good is dumb.
There was no sequel to this.
No.
Okay. Would I recommend this movie? I don't know. You guys are telling me that it's so similar to the original. I would be hard pressed to tell someone to go watch this over the original. Even though I haven't seen it yet, but I am going to go watch that myself.
I would say if you've never seen The Omen, start with the original, for sure.
Okay.
This one definitely is a little more entertaining visually. It's got some moments that I'm not thrilled about. The acting is just not as well done and in place as the original one was, but this wasn't bad. It just suffers from 2000s movie making.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad movie, but I also don't think it's great. But recommend, sure. If you want to watch an Omen, it's not terrible.
If you've seen the Omen original and you're looking to watch the Omen again, give this one a whirl. It's fun. The original Damien is so much better in my opinion.
Yeah, it's hard to compare the two in the sense that 1976 was a long time ago and movies were really different, and the original Omen is very good, but it's also a movie from 1976. So you need to like understand what you're signing up for. It is not a modern horror film. And even 2006 is, as we saw, getting dated, but it's a little bit more modern. So like maybe if you've never seen The Omen, possibly I might say start with this one, see if you like the story, and then go watch the OG one, because there's less of a barrier there for someone who maybe doesn't like the slow burn 70s type film.
True. I feel like you're doing this a disservice though, not getting the best character acting, like the best acting possible, because again, it is so weird to see this mother not give a shit from point one. You know, it's so weird to see, you know, Robert not be like just like, what do you want me to do about it? You know, like the whole fucking movie until the very end. And in the first one, there's a lot more like parents being parents. I don't know. Oh man, that's a tough call. It's a tough call. You know what? Watch both.
Yeah, it's a competently made remake, and the original is super rad. So definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, any other lingering thoughts on the Omen before we wrap?
That's all I got. That's like the best like creepy chanting I can do.
Well, listeners, have you seen The Omen? Why don't you let us know what you think about it? Oh, okay. Well, we're good then. All right. See you later. Let us know on our social media. We got a Facebook and Instagram and a Twitter. If you want to see what we're up to, go ahead to the GraveTalk.com. It's all there. Garrett, do we know what we're doing next time?
I believe the next movie we are doing is Scream 6, sir.
All right. Well, that's it from us. We'll see you next time with Scream 6. Thanks for joining us.